Basic, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. We got a great show for you tonight. But as you know, tomorrow, the quarterfinals in the World Cup Qatar takes place, and we're blessed to have the coach of York University's men and ladies soccer team, Carmen Asako, each and every day give us a World Cup update. And Giancarlo Lino, we're going to start off with the World Cup update, the preview of the World Cup quarterfinals. Here's myself, Giancarlo Lino, and the coach, Carmen Asako. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live, and it's the quarterfinals in Qatar beginning tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow morning, quarterfinals. I got the coach, Carmen Asako, and you know it's big. It's the quarterfinals when I bring the one, the only, the sports Gita expert. He writes every day. I try to get him on. Oh, I'm busy writing. Where's your arm, Giancarlo? Where's your arm? How's your arm since you're writing all the time?
Oh, it's great because I'm typing, so it's
Typing, writing, same shit. All right, enough of you. All right, uh, I'm Spanish. We have Moroccan in our family. All right, Carmen, I'll start off with you because I tend to gloat about Italy not being in the World Cup. So I'll give you your 15 minutes to gloat about Spanish. Can't score a goal. They can never score. They can all these Spanish people can't score anything. They can never score.
Uh, well, I mean, we talked about this pregame that it's going to be difficult to break down that Moroccan group, and it's not like the Spanish have been, other than obviously the Costa Rica, have been clinical in breaking them down and have what they used to have in circa 2010. And we talked about the Morata factor, which never came to fruition. He didn't start the game. Obviously, he relied on the Daniel Olmo and Pedri to get the job done, and it wasn't it was exactly what we expected, um, and the Moroccans probably had two clear cut chances to win it in regulation, and it wasn't, and the last action in overtime, Saliba at the back post, he nicked one off the post, but there wasn't just not enough penetration, not enough threat from the long range shot. It was just not enough, and again, we talked about it. It wasn't surprising, and Morocco, good on them to get the penalties, and the Spanish were horrific in the penalty shootout, and they just didn't do enough to win.
All right, Giancarlo, I know you're going to gloat because I throw it in there because you're Italian, you're the youngster. See, can't you be like Carmen? He takes it, I gloat. He doesn't give me any shots, but I know you're going to give me a shot faster than Phil Kessel eating a hot dog. Go ahead.
yeah, Spain after that first win, it looked like
All
they were
right,
going to win
enough
the
time
World Cup,
there. Enough
seven
time for giving
goals,
shots,
and
Giancarlo.
they're already planning the World Cup parade, the route, the celebration, and just like last July in the Euro Cup, they can't win in the penalty shootout, so they're going home. Morocco's been a nice story, and I think it's just opening people's eyes here that Canada maybe they weren't as bad as some people made it out to be. Maybe it was just they had the group of death. Like Croatia, Morocco, they're both on now to the quarterfinal. They also had Belgium with one of the best midfielders in the world. So I think Canada can hold their heads up high a little bit higher now because they had a tough group now, and Croatia and Morocco's results are proving it.
See, I was going to deport him back to Italy, but because he said something nice about Canada, you could stay since I'm the president of provinces of Canada. All right, enough. Friday, 10 a.m. Croatia, Brazil. I'll start off with Giancarlo in this one. Who do you call? Who do you like in this one?
It's going to be really tough for Croatia to beat Brazil with the kind of depth they have in their attack and Thiago Silva back there, just what he's still able to do at his age on the back line and just being a leader that he is. I think this is where Brazil's going to move on to the next round. I don't see Croatia advancing. It'd be a nice story for Modric to get back and maybe make a run at another World Cup, back-to-back World Cups at this stage of his career. But I see Brazil winning fairly comfortably.
All right, give me the score and don't give me nothing. It's nil. Again, anybody, and Carmen, listen, if you don't say nil All right, I'm gonna fine you every time you $1. You're in a fine. I need haircut, a new Christmas cut, and all that. So what's the score?
I'm gonna go 3-1. I see Croatia getting a header somewhere near the end of the game, but I think it's gonna be a comfortable win for Brazil.
All right, go ahead, Carm.
I agree with Giancarlo. The Croatians have, got away with moments that they probably didn't deserve to get away with, and they have been masters at managing games. But this isn't, no, this isn't the misshooting Lukaku or even taking getting through in penalty kicks in the round of 16. I think the Brazilians are too clinical right now. Their tempo change in the final third is in the box is amazing. I think they're running on all cylinders, and what we talked about all the time is their main scorer is on fire. Like their number 9, Richarlison, is on fire right now. And although we've seen it in the past with Croatia sputtering through all the way to the final, finding ways to win in PKs, I think that this Brazilian team is just too dangerous all over the field. Even without Jesus, they still have incredible depth to come off the bench. And needless to say, they're not and Neymar looked fit and healthy. So that's another weapon that will be a little bit better in the next game. So they're just going to have too much to break down. And do the Croatians have the ability to press the Brazilians higher up the field? Haven't shown that yet. So unless they get that, unless they kind of get them out of their comfort zone, getting into that final third, I think they could be in trouble. Because right now the Brazilians are just relentless and just ruthless in front of that net.
All right, what's the score?
I'm gonna say, I think a 2-0 or a 3-1 makes sense. I think it will be comfortable.
I thought I would get $1. Even Carmen doesn't make mistakes. All right. So then Friday at 2 p.m., Netherlands, Argentina. I'll start off with Carmen this one.
What a great game. What a great game. I mean, not only the history of it, but I think the Netherlands have kind of earned the right to get in there. And they're not vanilla anymore. The Netherlands for a long time have been vanilla, you know. Just there, not a lot of fluff, and I think that helps them because they don't have fluff in the right places. Van Dijk and Ake and whoever they put in on that right side right now, the young Ajax player has been amazing in the 3. Daley Blind looks like his old self, you know, and I think that Dumfries has been a powerhouse. And obviously up top with Depay and Gakpo, and Frankie De Jong kind of pulling the strings, and everyone else kind of working hard. I think this team is going to have to outwork outwork Lionel Messi. They have to be cognizant where and when he gets the ball. And I just don't think that the supporting cast for Argentina, whether it's been Di Maria or whether it's been the young Manchester United striker, it just hasn't. Manchester City striker. It just hasn't been enough of a supporting cast. DePaul has been, okay. He's done his job, but I just don't think that the supporting cast around Messi is going to have enough to break down the Dutch. And I think the Dutch will find ways to win this game. And again, I just think that their confidence level, their kind of continuity, their relentless ability to just not bore a team to death and find ways to move through Depay and through Gakpo to find goals. I think that right now they've got the recipe to beat Argentina. So I'm going to call a 3-1 Netherlands win.
Wow. All right, Giancarlo, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think this might be an upset here. I think it's going to be 2-1 though. I think it's going to go down the wire, and I think the Dutch are going to park the bus once they go ahead there and have Argentina that sense of urgency in them. But like Argentina, it's nice that they're here and all, but like who did they really beat? That is a huge statement win. Australia, where if the goalie didn't really make that mistake there, what kind of result are we talking about? We might even talk about them going to extra time, maybe a penalty shootout. So I wasn't so impressed with that performance out of them. I know it's all nice and all praise Messi and all that, but the rest of the team has to show up too. And I just think that Argentina, there's some signs here of a collapse waiting to happen, and I think it might happen against the Netherlands.
All right. So, first of all, I forgot to give my pick Brazil. I think they will win 1-0. And doesn't matter who they play. We both want to see Brazil, Netherlands, or Brazil, Argentina. If you got your started with Carm here, would you like to see Brazil, Netherlands, or Brazil, Argentina? I know you picked the Netherlands, but for the sake of football, let's put it that way. Which would
One
be a better matchup?
1,000% Brazil Argentina. And I was ruining the fact that we couldn't get Brazil or Uruguay in the round of 16.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yes, I would love to see Brazil Argentina.
All right, Giancarlo.
Yeah, I'd like to see Brazil Argentina too. I think Neymar for one, that would be a big one for him, just because like his whole career, it's like that's always a narrative. Like he's in Messi's shadow, he's in Barcelona, then he goes to PSG, and then look who falls after. It's Messi. So I think it'd be a nice win for Neymar if he can get past Argentina and send Argentina home, and it'd be good for his career because a lot of time it seems like he gets. Passed up on in some of these opportunities, especially now that he plays with Mbappe and Messi. So I think he would need that win for his career.
Well, you guys picked Netherlands. You guys are going to be wrong. Argentina is going to prevail in penalty kicks. Argentina will prevail in penalty kicks. We are going to see Brazil, Argentina in a semifinal. Put it that way. All right, Saturday, December 10th, 10 a.m. Portugal, not Portland, Carmen, not Portland. Portugal in Morocco. Go ahead, John Carlo.
Yeah, this one would be another upset. I would love to see if Morocco could pull it off and go to the final and have this amazing run that no one expected going into the predictions for the tournament, and they can play for a World Cup. But I think Portugal has a little bit more depth in their attack that I don't know if Morocco can handle it. I think everyone's making a big deal of Ronaldo not celebrating with his teammates, but everyone's forgetting like that scene. He's supposed to celebrate like he won the World Cup. Like he's been there before. He's been in elimination games. This is probably his last World Cup. So the difference between this one and him celebrating in the past ones is he had more World Cups ahead of him. So maybe at this one, end of his career, and I think to
Hold
quote
on, hold
Kobe
on.
Bryant, "Job's not finished. When the job
Not
finished, that's
finished,
when
but
you
the job was
celebrate."
for
So,
him. You know
shout
why he was
out
celebrating? Carmen could tell me why. Okay, he was counting his $200 million from the Saudi. All right, he was counting on the sidelines his $200 million. So who's your pick? You're picking Portugal, right?
Yeah, and I got Ronaldo scoring a big goal.
Of course, he wasn't celebrating, but of course he's. Never mind. Go ahead, Carm.
Well, I think the rotation. Let's see what the old Wiley manager does this time. I mean, I think his rotation, whether it was because of disciplinary reasons or any other reasons, I think it's going to happen again. I think we'll see Ronaldo starting, and then Giancarlo. I think he did celebrate with his teammates, especially the first two goals. Um, yeah, it's the narcissism is making me ill, and I'm sure it's making everyone else ill. But as far as his ability to have an impact on this game, I do agree that with Giancarlo, he will have an impact, but it's going to be tough to leave Ramos out. He was on fire, scored great goals. I don't know if they keep him in somewhere, but or he will also have his print on this game as well. But who knows when? But I do think Ronaldo will start. I think that Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva and that and Joao Felix, who for me has been underwhelming, are William Carvalho, and that group has been very solid, very solid, and I think that the Portuguese will find a way to win this game. I think that they've they've rotated fantastically. I think that you'll see a lot of players that played in the first game come back into the mix and play this game as well. Pepe at almost 40 years old or 40 years old. I think it would be a big ask for him to come in and play again. So I think they have a lot of depth, a lot of talent, and it's going to be interesting. I think the way he rotated the last game is going to be the reason they win the next game. And don't forget Zais, who's been a massive part of the Moroccan run right now, probably will be out because he looked like he couldn't even walk more. And there's going to be a lot of air. And it's just a different level of physical fitness and mental fitness that right now the Portuguese are just fresh. They're just ready to go. And I think that they're going to put their place in the semifinals. Probably a 2 or 3-0 win. 3-0.
$1. He owes me $1. He said
3-0.
nothing.
3-0. 3-0. Keep your dollar. Keep your
2,
dollar.
3,
Keep your
4,
dollar.
5, 6. Come on. I need to go to Nino de Versa. 10, 11, 12. All right. So we're all calling Portland. Okay. We're all calling Portland, Portugal to win that. Okay. So Saturday, 2 p.m. And this is going to be a good matchup. Start off with Giancarlo. England and France. Go ahead.
I I wouldn't be too shocked if like England can manage to pull an upset off, but I think this is France's World Cup now to lose. Their depth, just how good they are, how I know they would love Pogba to be there, but Rabiot just stepped up and he's being effective. They would have loved to have Benzema there, but Giroud has stepped up and he's been effective, and he's passed like Henri, have all these stories going around their team. Everybody's on a beat, and I think everything's flowing for them. It seems to be playing like a club team in a Champions League atmosphere, just how they connect so well, and then they have Mbappe there, so they have too many weapons, and I just think that they're going to cruise through, and we might see a Euro 2016 rematch in the semifinal.
All right. What's the score?
I'm going to go 3-0 France.
No
And
way.
then the English, maybe the next time will come home.
No way. You're wrong there. Go ahead, Carl.
Let's look at matchups here. Mbappe versus Luke Shaw. Giroud versus Harry Maguire. And on the other side, Rashford or Mount or Foden. Sorry, what am I talking about? If it's Coleman even, versus maybe Trippier, that it's going to be hard for them to contain them, but it's going to be, if the English lose this game, it's going to be Southgate obviously will be done, but it's going to be about the defeatist mentality that they are choosing to take versus France. But I don't see any other way them managing this game. So it just seems to me a too tough a task for the English, even in the midfield. I mean, that is where you're going to get a little bit of parity. Rabiot and Jude Bellingham has been fantastic for me. We talked about players of the tournament early on. I think that he's one of them. He's just at a different level right now, almost at an Mbappe level. And then you got Kane coming into his own, finding goals. So again, if it's matchup versus matchup, I think the English are going to struggle. I think the English have right now probably an upper hand in the middle of the field. Although Rabiot has been fantastic, Chukwudemi has been fantastic, but I just don't see how the English are going to out defend or outplay the French. But this is a 50-50 game. I'm going to say 2-1 England, France, but it's
He
a
just screwed
50-50.
it up. France is going to England's going to win now. England's going to win. He just screwed it up. That's it. You don't go back on what you say. But anyways, by the way, Carmen, how's your teeth doing? Never mind. All right, he was at the dentist there. He complained and everything. Okay, so before we close it out, tomorrow, Friday, after the matches, we're going to be having a World Cup update Saturday as well. Then we'll set up for the semifinals. But before we close it out, there was some news. Carmen, you know these. In 2025, there's going to be a Canadian professional women's soccer league. Elaborate on that, Carmen, if you will.
I mean, again, it's a disconnect that I don't want to venture into, that I honestly don't have enough information about, between CSB, Canadian Soccer Association, and everyone else in this country. We heard Julian, some of us heard Julian de Guzman's rant on how the players and a lot of the community doesn't trust CSB, CSA, and the women's, basically away from someone who is very capable, Bree Carr Harris, who was put in charge as kind of the chief of putting a women's a viability plan for the women's professional league in Canada, was kind of pushed aside by the players. I mean, there was some communication pushed aside by the players, and Diana Matheson, who is a great individual, a great soldier for our country and for our cause in soccer, kind of, with Christine Sinclair and her group, kind of went on their own and tried to make things and started this pro league, right? Right now, there's a lot to be done for 2025, and a lot of investors to be found. The Calgary Foothills, which is a fantastic youth organization, have stepped up, and they have their relationship as well with the cavalry of the CPL. But they're stepped up, and they should be a very viable solution for the first team. And the Whitecaps, deep pockets, good for them. Obviously, this may be a political move with all that's happened in the Vancouver Whitecaps organization in the past, against women in soccer. But now I think this is them taking a stand and owning up and kind of trying to clean up their image. But it's for an amazing cause, and there's a lot of good backing with them. I just hope to God that Diane and Christine find the ability to work with Bria Carr Harris, who's a fantastic individual who just wants the best for the game, and will add so much if these two groups came together. Obviously, Bria was hired by the CSA and CSB, and Diana and Christina and that group kind of went away from that and kind of did things on their own. So there's a lot of political underlines here that we don't see, but it's going to be, the next year is going to be a volatile search for investors and and people investing in the game. Right now, Vancouver and Calgary is right now their only options. They're trying to find at least one team in Ontario, maybe two. They're looking out east, the Halifax area. And these are great soccer communities, and I'm 1,000% sure that they can work it out. But I just wish we find that kind of communication, or kind of work together with CSA and CSB, because for Bree's sake, and I think that she's just wants to do what's ever best for the game, and for the soccer in general's sake. Because we got to get rid of this animosity between the men's team and CSB, CSA, and the women's team and CSA, CSB. There's got to be a coming together, even the women's and men's program and everyone that is supporting them. Because as much as we complain and fight, Canada has done an admirable job in providing proper resources for both groups. There needs to be, without that relationship, without that link, it's just going to be a continuous scratch of the head. And Canada Soccer, and obviously a lot has fallen on Nick Bontis's lap. um, because he kind of was elected into a situation that existed for many years. He needs to kind of just uh, get all the information and see what he can do to make things better. But number one thing to make things better is to close that gap between the players and Canada Soccer, Canadian Soccer Association, and CSB. We have to close that gap. We have to stop pointing fingers. We have to get to the table and work out a proper solution because we're much stronger. And a lot of administrative hurdles and a lot of things that happened through the business-like preparation of the CPL came through, CSB and CSA solutions. So the ladies' league, the women's league, should use this as making their league stronger. So I pray that they both work together. I pray that the strength of a Diana, Bree, and Christine makes this thing so much stronger. But you know what? Right now, it's time to celebrate that we finally got a women's league. We talked about it on our show that would be sooner than later, and it is. And we have a light at the end of the tunnel, and we have a home. The most important thing is we have a home for so many, so many, so many great young players in Canada right now.
And don't forget the Ladies Women World Cup happens next summer in Australia. Also, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. I know millions and millions of Johns are listening and watching this show. They're not in the washroom. They're listening to. I heard a little birdie told me that Toronto is gonna get a team owned and operated by some guy named Tannenbaum, and they're going to announce it next year when that same person will unveil that Toronto has a WNBA team. That's all I'm saying. Toronto, WNBA, Toronto, ladies soccer and all that. So, and by the way, since we're on this, Carmen, the CPL. What do you hear more? They talk about expansions and the CBL expanding out east there. That's the Canadian Elite Basketball League. What do you hear from the CPL?
I mean, you got to understand the CPL bunch is a very um, I wouldn't use the word cautious. I would just use pragmatic in bringing in the next group. Obviously, Vancouver and Rob Friend and Josh, former players, have done an amazing job working with appropriate people to get the system up and running and efficient. I think that they'll be very pragmatic in bringing their next group in. We saw what happened in Edmonton with Fath, and that was kind of an unfortunate situation. So they don't want that to happen. They're going to be very, very pragmatic in who they bring in next. But obviously, the elephant in the room is Quebec. How are we going to get a team? And I was in Quebec City with at Université de Laval with the women, and the stadium out there is fantastic. The community out there is growing, and I think that it would be a perfect place to have a CPL team. And there's other options in around Quebec area. Obviously, it's the Montreal area is dominated by CF Montreal, but that right now is the elephant in the room. How can the CPL and CSB find that appropriate franchise in Quebec? And there's other places. I mean, there's incredible. We all know that Kala Kahan, the former CPL commissioner, has his rights in Winnipeg, in Windsor. I'm sorry, in Windsor. And there's some amazing people out there with some good soccer pedigree that can make that market very viable. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but you see what happens in Detroit City with their USL team, and that's just a fantastic experience every time. They get they get almost 6 to 10,000 a game, and it's a great experience. That absolutely 100% could happen in Windsor. Kitchener, and I know that Bob Young is close to that franchise as well, and I think that they're trying to put things in place for a new Kitchener franchise, which is a fantastic soccer community as well. And there's so many. The list goes on and on. And right now it's important to support the local game, the League Ones, League BC League One, Ontario League One, the PLSQ, those leagues that are that are going to be kind of the guinea pigs for the next levels for CPL.
All right. So, and we touch on CF Montreal. Giancarlo has been stunned there. He hasn't said a word, but Montreal losing their coach to the Columbus Crew. Giancarlo, you want to add anything into it?
Yeah, their coach losing a few players, probably more. So their whole management, at least they're getting a return on their investment. I'm sure Vancouver, if they had to redo that draft, they would take Alistair Johnson instead of Ryan Raposo, just the kind of career he's had right now. But I think with just the amount of money they made, Nashville from Montreal, then now Montreal making it from Celtic, I think everybody's returning on their investment there. So it just shows that they got capable people in charge, and maybe it's going to be a framework going forward of producing more Canadian talents, and they're going to be looked at as kind of like what some of the German teams are with young German players. That other leagues across the world, they're going to look at this team as being a staple for Canadian players. So that's a positive sign.
Carmen, anything you want to add there?
Good about the next phase of the Joey Saputo kind of like right now. You saw the reactions of the fans when they changed the whole new branding. That's kind of going away right now. The whole idea of branding, he kind of has massaged some of the supporters groups and all that, and made some changes to appease them. But right now, I mean, you look at the best. They've lost Wanyama. They've lost Ali. They've lost Kone. They've lost Milanovic. They've lost some top players in that group. So, and they've made money out of the process. And I'm sure the Saputo family is happy for that. But I mean, the Saputo family, who've been a staple in the Montreal area for professional soccer, have earned the responsibility to make sure that you have a good product on the field. And you just lost Nancy, the coach, and that wasn't a big secret, because a lot of people had to kind of talk Nancy off the ledge during the season, because Joey's not the easiest person to work with. And he's done amazing things for the community in Montreal, but he wants it his way. He wants it his way, and his way has been very successful on and off the field. And he's accountable to not only he's accountable to his company, his family's company, yes, but he's accountable on making it successful. And he has his recipe to make that successful, and let's hope it doesn't cause kind of the demise of that second place finish for Montreal, and how well they did in the playoffs and their run there, which was fantastic. So they've lost some key players. They've made some good money, but moving on, let's see how things move forward, and how he appeases the big fandom that is Montreal.
All right. So we're going to close it out. We're based out of Toronto here.
A lot of rumors. Sorry, Joe. A lot of rumors that Bobby Smirnos is going to be is one of the front runners to take that job in Montreal. In practical sense, that makes absolute sense. But there's also rumors about Nesta. There's also rumors, and you know what? Bobby's a hands-on type of guy. Him and his brother have kind of built that whole Hamilton with the belief in the Youngs and the Scott Mitchells for sure. But they've built that Hamilton into something special. So number one, it's going to be hard for them to give that up. And number two, they're going to want to have a lot of control. And obviously, we know that Joey's not the giving control type.
All right. Finally, we touched on Montreal. Let's touch on Toronto. Anything you hear from Toronto FC, Carmen, and then Giancarlo?
I've had a quick I had the other day. I had a quick conversation with Bill Manning, which was full of enthusiasm, full
Did you tell
of
him about Fired Up Network? Did you tell him about Giancarlo wants to interview Bradley and everybody? Did you tell him about that?
like I said, it was a
Who
short
pays your
conversation.
salary here? Come on, you gotta come on, Car.
Was there a job offer involved in this?
No, there's
For
no.
No, no,
First of all,
no.
I'm gonna cut this off. Here, hold on. If there's
I
ever,
it off because I went, and he's just full of enthusiasm, full of moves. Obviously, they've got a lot to do. They've got a lot of room to do it. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, I've I know I go a little bit back with Bill and from my Milwaukee Rampage days when he was the GM at Minnesota Thunder. But I think that everything was really, really positive. So I'm expecting big things.
don't lie, Carm. All right, Giancarlo wants to know, and I'll tell you.
But
No,
no,
hold on. You
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 know me
you asked him.
before.
Hold on, I'm telling you. We're gonna get to this. You asked him, can he see the Grey Cup ring, and he took it out. You wanted a cup ring. That's what you guys talked all the time. All right, Giancarlo, stop spreading rumors, man. Stop it already. Right, Carmi, the Leafs play the Los Angeles Kings at the Scotiabank Arena. Your pick, Carmen Asako's pick of the day. Giancarlo, bet $5 on it. He owes me 10. Go ahead.
Marner got his what he
Yes,
got his
Mitch
assist.
Marner. And
He's at
another Mitch Marner and Matt Murray. 44 saves against Dallas. M&M's. Never tasted so good.
yeah. I mean the Leafs are on fire right now. I mean it's crazy.
They're fired up.
Uh, Fired up, and yeah, I think they have what it takes to beat LA tonight. And it'll be interesting to see how the coach is going to deal with that blue line when everyone starts getting healthy again.
See this guy, Giancarlo. Do you have any hockey, baseball, basketball, wrestling, any curling, any tennis, any questions for Carl Sacco? Go ahead.
It's more of a comment. All the Mitch Marner haters are a little silent as of late, I've noticed. What happened to all that talk of, oh, he's not good, trade him, he's a cancer to the team, he can't hit, that's what wins games apparently, not goals. So I find it ironic that everybody's praising him and in Twitter and everything and all their articles in the media, but 3 months ago, there was a different tune. So I'm sure he has a lot of receipts that he's going to be sending out to them when the Leafs eventually have success, and he's a big part of it. So backing Marner once again because he's a big part of that team, just as big of a part as Matthews is.
Giancarlo, of course, adds nothing to what Carmen said. All right, Giancarlo, start us off. Tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at John underscore 411, Instagram at Giancarlo underscore Alino. Check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca and sportskeeda.com. Check out my recent interview with Bellator interim bantamweight champ Rufian Stotts, who fights on Friday. And yeah, if you're in Toronto, check me out on Vibe 105, where in the coming weeks we have a couple more guests, so tune in there.
All right. And Carmen Asako does not want to be reached, but we can reach him at Nino Daversa this weekend, where he promised he owes $15. He's going to take me out for that meatball sub and everything like that. All right. And his
You
pick of the day is the
got
Maple
nil,
Leafs.
you got nil chance. Me meeting you at Nino Diversa. Nil, zero chance. Zero chance.
Wait. Say it right. Say it as John Freeman Nelson, Nino Daversa. All right. You're going to take
Yeah.
John Freeman Nelson out for Nino Daversa?
If I see John Nelson in Toronto, I would love to take him out. Well,
What? Hold on. The guy cuts from
never,
Atlanta, and you want to take him out. What about me and Giancarlo? We're from Toronto. You don't want to take us out?
well, that should tell something about yourselves.
All right. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
That was a great World Cup update, preview of the quarterfinals with the coach, Carmen Asako and Giancarlo Lino. Giancarlo Lino will be back later on tonight as we talk wrestling, and we do a lot of talking about wrestling, previewing two pay-per-views, NXT Deadline and Ring of Honor Final Battle, as well as UFC 282 and Bellator 289 pay per views. And of course, just looking at the Leaf game here, 2 minutes left in the first period. We are scoreless between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Los Angeles Kings. Toronto Maple Leafs, Los Angeles Kings, scoreless here um, also. So, as mentioned, we got sports fluent Anthony K here. Anthony K is going to do crunching the numbers for us. Anthony K, a big part of the Fired Up Network, and you can check him out on his own shows there. But crunching the numbers is going to come up right now. Here is Anthony K.
Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen, bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothes.
Welcome to Crunching the Numbers. I'm Anthony K. You can find me at sports_fluent. This week, we're going to go through the numbers as we always do against the spread. We'll give you the percentages, strategy. We're going to give you some over-under trends that we've been asked to discuss. I'm going to do my pick 5. And of course, you can find all your picks on sports_fluent, IG, Twitter, TikTok, or DM me on any of those platforms, or email me at anthonyk@sportsfluent.com. Last week we went 10 and 5. I believe there's 15 games last week, if memory serves. But we got 10 right. That's what I know. There might have been 13 games. I just count the right ones because, like any good shooter, you forget your misses. We got 10 right last week. So, and then, like I said, we're going to do our top 5. So here we go. We're going to start right off the bat. Against the spread, away teams, it's changed a little bit. It was 50. Home teams won a couple extra games last week. Now 93 and 96 and 6. This is against the spread, 49.2%, which means teams are 50.8%. Favorites against the spread are 45%. The dogs are 54, obviously 0.5%, 103 wins to 86 wins for the favorites. So dogs are winning more against the spread. Away favorites, 43%. Away dogs, 53%. Home favorites, 46%. And home dogs, still your best bet at 56.6%. Keep an eye on those home dogs as they're winning close to 60% of games against the spread. The over-under that you asked about, here we go. Overtime games, we've had overs 5, unders 8. So 61.5% of overtime games are unders. Non-overtime games, it's a little bit closer. It is 79 overs, 100 unders, which is 55.9% for those wondering. And then just all games, so including just mashing them all up together, 84 overs, 108 unders. So 56% of the time, it's an under. That's the type of season that we've been having in the NFL. All right, so what you've actually, the reason you come here, here's our picks, hot off the presses. Here we go. So we've got, in game 1, the Thursday nighter tonight, so hurry up and get it in, the Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams, -6 for the Raiders. Hey, they got this by a touchdown, if not more. I'm taking the Raiders. I'm taking the favorites on the road in this one. Then you got the Bengals hosting the Cleveland Browns. And the Bengals are also -6. Deshaun Watson's second game. It's a divisional game. They're going to put up some more points than they did last week, but I'm going with the Bengals -6. They're good for at least winning by 10. Houston. So here's the one I say proceed on the caution. Traveling to Dallas. 17-point favorite at the time of recording this show. I just have this feeling Houston's going to be this interstate matchup. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. And there'll be a point in the game where they're down by 20-something points, I'm sure. I just have a feeling. So that's why I say proceed with caution. I have a feeling Houston keeps this one within 2 touchdowns. They still lose. I'm taking Houston in the 17 points. Kansas City traveling to Denver. We mentioned Denver. Horrible season. Russell Wilson, disappointing. Everything's disappointing in Mile High right now. 9.5-point favorites are Kansas City going into Denver. I'm taking Kansas City on the road and the 9.5 points. I know I'm nuts. The last one, the Monday Nighter. The New England Patriots travel in to Arizona as 1.5-point underdogs. And I'm taking the New England Patriots to win this game and cover the 1.5 points. I think they win by a field goal. New England Patriots over the Arizona Cardinals.
Now you're more fluent.
So if you want any more betting advice, check out Crunch every week. Network. I'm Anthony K, sports_fluent. Now you're more fluent.
Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen, bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespin.
Well, thank you, Sports Fluent Anthony K. He'll be back after the following segment with the Fantasy Grill. Well, now I present Unstoppables. Derek Bowles, former basketball player, and he's been a big part of the Fired Up Network this week. Well, it's an very interesting guest he has on the show, and we're going to get to it right now. Here's Dick Bowles with Rick Grunden.
Hi, I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm excited to have a really phenomenal person, a phenomenal guest on the show today, Unstoppables. I would like to introduce you to Rick Grunden. Rick, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so grateful to be on here with my friend. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I always love when we get a chance to connect. We've done a lot of good things together, been all over the world together, LA, you name it. We've done a lot of phenomenal things. But I really would like you to, this show is really about financial resources, right? Financial support, financial help. And I kind of want you to give a little bit of background of what it is that you do.
Man, I give cash. That's my whole thing is I give cash. I find ways to find people that we do all the start a business bank, many other banks around the country, because nobody in the banking world wants to have a new person come in, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, a fantastic, great idea that is not proven, and they're like, I want money to start my new idea. People literally do not want to have that person sitting across them. Our company does all the traditional lending for businesses who want to expand and get new leases. We do all the traditional business lending, personal lending, but what we specialize in, what separates us as our niche and our superpower, is getting money for brand new startup businesses, and that's why all these major banks do 100% of funding through us. And so we find amazing people. If they're not wanting to start a business, I also show people different unique ways that I've discovered for bringing in cash, unstoppable amounts of cash coming into your life. And the unique pitch on that, lots of people show you how to make money, but I do it with systems where you can actually have time and financial freedom. It's one thing if someone shows you how to make a lot of money, and I think that I used to run the largest accredited only investor group in the world. And that means that the government gave a title. It's not, we've heard of accredited universities, things like that. It means that they are, gone through some program to be accredited and qualified. All it means in the U.S. is that for someone to be accredited just means that they've got money. So they either have to have $1 million net worth, excluding their main home. This is a new law that was put in by Obama saying, for that couple their home years ago for $300,000 and now it's worth, that doesn't qualify you. You have to have dollars net worth excluding your main home, or make $200,000 per year as an individual for the previous 2 years, not new money, but previous 2 years, and expect to make the same or greater than the current year.
So a couple of things, one, moving, right? When you're changing where you're living and, getting all the, moving is a very stressful thing. I think that is super important. So I'm trying to figure out how did he make a transition from Maui and now he's in Mexico, and he's doing the exact same thing with the his cash flow business that he's been able to design and develop. And I think that in itself really speaks to his expertise and what he does. And we're living in a time right now where a lot of people, unfortunately, resources is a very big deal, having access to resources. And so I just think we need to be thinking, how can we really, especially with everything that we faced already with the pandemic, with people passing away that have been untimely, with deaths happening across the world. I just think we really need to be thinking about how can we, more than anything, leverage our time, do the stuff that's important to us, which is probably family, people that we love, people that we're connected to, and then, have resources to continue to move forward. And I think all those things become very, very important. Become very important. All right, Rick, are you back?
I'm back, buddy.
I was saying Mexico. I was saying Maui in Mexico.
Yeah, I heard you say last time we talked that you were in Maui. Now I'm here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, but I didn't hear the actual question.
I just want you to talk a little bit about that transition and how resources helped you. How did you make that jump?
Yeah, the great news about having money, time and financial freedom are the two most important things to me, besides obviously health is the number one thing. The reason I could live anywhere I want in the world, I had a house designed and built in Thailand, living on Maui, before that Oahu, the Costa del Sol along the southern part of Spain, literally swimming in the warm water in the morning, skiing 90 minutes later. It's like being able to choose the most amazing places in the world to live. And I lived in Playa del Carmen before the pandemic happened, and they started closing the beach and the border, and I left, but I'm grateful to be back. And the whole point is that I want to get up and love myself. My health is the most important thing to me. I want to help people, but I also want to love myself first. And the first thing I want to do in the morning is go for a 90-minute to a 2-hour-long swim. I want to stretch. I want to meditate in the ocean. That's my time with God. I'm with God all the time, but out in the water for some reason, no phones, no distraction, no car noise, just floating, swimming, doing my thing. I get all these amazing downloads all the time. And when I get done with that, have breakfast, do some stretching, meditation, it's literally been 2 to 3 hours of time for me. And then most of my contacts start on Pacific time. So that's why I moved back here to be on Eastern Standard Time, so I can get that 2 to 3 hours of workout in and not feel like I've missed the entire day. And I can serve a full 8-hour schedule if I want to, only if I want to. So that's the big thing about being able to go be anywhere, do anything, and I choose to be here.
Well, and that's powerful. And I want to add to what you're saying because, as you know, health is very important. You already know a little bit about my health journeys, which is why we haven't had a chance to stay connected. But I just want you to really, kind of break down just forms, steps so that people can understand how to get engaged with what you're doing. How do people get engaged?
Well, the biggest thing that people do is whether they already have money. Many people come to me that already have money. We're not talking about big money. We're talking about, right, $500 to $10,500. It's not like this go buy a house money or go buy a new car money. It's like used car money at best. And a lot of times we can provide the money at 0% interest for them. So the first step I have people do is, well, I want them first to go through our 7-step presentation program, where I don't know if you've ever had to go to a timeshare presentation. My family had a timeshare when we were kids, and we loved it. We used it. We loved it. But it's got a negative industry thing where timeshare presentation. I think your time is super valuable. Everybody's time is the most valuable asset we have. And how I found that out was when I was in a near death situation myself. Told me, we've already scheduled you for a double leg amputation. You've already lost your legs. We're just trying to save your life. And I looked around the room to find out who the hell they were talking to. And they're like, I'm talking to you. And I was just sitting there like, I feel totally healthy. But I didn't even tell my mom. I didn't tell my own son. I didn't tell the love of my life that was, just a few minutes away from me. I didn't want them to be worried and scared. But I'll tell you what, it was a moment of finding out what the most valuable asset in my life was time. All of a sudden, it's like they're acting like my time was going to be shut down. I'm young and healthy and vibrant and alive. And so time is the most important thing to me, and you cannot buy it. So when I ask somebody to go, even if it's for their own benefit, right, and I ask somebody to go spend some time, it might be an hour. Now, we go use an hour to go watch a TV show all the time or go watch a 2-hour movie all the time. That's entertainment. I'm not talking about entertaining you. I'm talking about wanting someone to spend an hour with me, not with me, but my system online, so I can be out playing and swimming and doing the things I want to do. We've got a system that's been created over 20 years of success that walks people through a step-by-step process. And at the end of it, either they know they want to participate with us or they don't. It doesn't cost anything except time. And I want to reward the people on your podcast and any of your friends for their time, just like in the timeshare industry. When my family went to get a timeshare, we were poor. We didn't have money. My mom insisted that we all go, and even had my dad had to go. It was a requirement. Got to have the husband and wife there, because we just had to sit through the presentation and we got a vacation, right? They can afford to give away these amazing vacations because, right, they're going to have some people come through the presentation that weren't expecting to participate, and they end up buying a timeshare. We're not offering timeshares here, but the same principles applied. All you have to do is come through and take your time, invest an hour, middle of the night, end of the day. It can be 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter when, but if you invest that hour, we are literally going to be giving you an amazing choice of vacations. 125 locations around the world, including Australia and Thailand and Hawaii, where I just came from, all over the United States, easy to drive to nearby, possibly a plane trip if you have to do that. But the point is, you don't have to buy anything or participate with us. It's literally just an exchange for your time. So that's what we're going to be doing for all your wonderful guests, and anyone that they want to forward this information on to will get the same thing. They don't have to be listening live on the podcast or getting it repeated. They can share it with their friends, and they can also get an amazing vacation themselves just by going through the system.
Now, Rick, first and foremost, obviously, it's a powerful, concept, powerful idea that you have, and in getting people engaged and not taking much of their time to just really see if it's an opportunity for them to generate some cash flow, right? And that's fair. But I really want you to take a little bit of time, because as of late, I want to make sure I communicate this. I've been meditating more than anything, and it has been powerful for me. And very, I like to talk about God in my meditation, because I do believe that there's a force bigger than all of us that has his hand on everything. And so I feel like it's God giving me insight, inspiration, ideas, and next steps. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show. But I really want you to talk about your meditation and some of the ideas and inspiration that you got from just meditating?
Amen. Well, I was in a situation of being on top of the world financially, time freedom, loving what I was doing, contributing to the world in such a way. I didn't know anybody that I knew that had a better life than me. I'm sure there's always somebody, but as far as I was concerned, I was just checked off on all the boxes, had a beautiful son, beautiful life, wonderful parents, all that kind of stuff. And I was in a domestic bank scandal, domestic meaning America, not some, offshore craziness or something like that, where the owners of the bank stole everyone's money. And
Wow.
I came in from a lunch, assistant smiling, and he's handed me 5 messages. I was on a 2-hour lunch with some clients, having a great time. And I see one from my mom, my son, a couple other people I knew. But one of them was from the FBI. I ended up getting on a phone call. They asked me to be on a call the next day. And I'm sitting there like, I've got no issues to be ever worried about getting a call from the FBI. I've been asked to be a witness for the FBI numerous times. The SEC, the IRS, I've been flown into 26-member grand jury, to be a witness for them. So this is not a threatening phone call. I just pick up and call. When I got on that call the next day, they told us, everyone on that call, who were all the bank account holders of this bank, that regardless of how much money was in our account, and I was blessed to have just finished an event, meaning when I present and bring in large capital for different projects, I just brought in over $62.5 million into this bank.
Wow.
After a 9-day event with people that paid $26,250 for a ticket. I don't take any of the ticket money. They use my company's reputation and opportunity for people to be able to participate in our super high return investments and things. So that's why there was so much money sitting in a single bank account. Was we just finished that event, gave people a 3-week deadline to participate, and the bank stole $108 million from everybody, but $62.5 million from my company's account. And thankfully, I was sitting down, because I guarantee you this big man here would be just passed out on the ground. I saw the walls. I thought, like in those drugs, I don't smoke, drink, or do drugs, but I thought, man, that's as close as I've come to feeling what that must feel like when the walls go liquid. So I had a readjustment in my life where suddenly I didn't have any money. I didn't have it all because of the domino effect of one thing going into another big thing, and it was just a nightmare. I ended up not just being broke, which a lot of people are like, oh dear God, I wish I wasn't broke. I was praying to just be broke, because I was left over $2 million negative, and sitting here just like I only had a few bucks left on a credit card. All my money was eventually, every house, every car, everything. I became homeless. I had to live in the LA shelter. I used to have $110 million net worth. I'm not a dumb guy. Go bad investments. I had my money in a domestic bank and found out that all that is protected in a U.S. bank, FDIC insurance covers only the first $250,000. And when I got that check, which that seems like a lot, but when you just lost $62.5 million, it was nothing. And the woman, I kid you not, when she's sitting there handing me this check, she's like, whoa, you're one of the lucky ones, because the law just changed recently. Before it was just $200,000. So here's that extra $50,000. And I just was devastated. All that money was burned. All that money was gone. I was negative $2 million. And I was praying, I knew this wasn't some, what do they call it when someone has their life readjusted because they've been a bad actor in the world. I never lost my faith in God. I never questioned. Obviously, I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. So I wasn't like, what happened to me? You must be blessing these people and all these things. Long story short, I was praying about something that I could do. So another thing that happened there to compound the problem was that I also totaled a car with my son in it. My most precious cargo. I wasn't speeding, didn't fall asleep at the wheel. It was a crazy freak accident. I was going 30 miles below the speed limit and still had this crazy accident, a water-related injury. My point is that I was left as a championship athlete, great physique my whole life, and suddenly I was left 100 pounds overweight. And then I had a slip and fall accident at that elevated weight that I wish was captured on video so we could make some money from all the viral video of people watching me fall down in this huge hole. But I permanently injured my back. I hurt my knee, my head, my wrist. Wrist was injured for over a year. But my back injury, L5, was a permanent injury. So there's nothing we can do for
Wow.
it. I've
Wow.
already had 13 some odd surgeries by this point. There's nothing we can do for you. And I was left bedridden at 475 pounds and just kept going up. I had to have guys come over, the big guys, to help me go from the bed to the toilet. Thank God I didn't have to have any help in the bathroom, but it was still very emasculating, very depressing. And I got to 634 unmovable pounds and was just not at the end of my rope. I was never suicidal. I was sitting there just obviously very upset, never suicidal, but praying to God, like, how on earth can I solve this? And first thing that came to me was water. That with the water buoyancy helping me, because there was too much pressure on my body, my back, everything. I could not move. I couldn't work out. But God said, if you're floating, and I got into an infrared sauna. Can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So
Yep.
I got into an infrared sauna. I was able to lose enough weight to where I could get into the water and start exercising in the water. And that's when I eventually sat here having a vision to, have you ever seen the Marvel movies with Thor and all these, Captain America and Thor and everybody?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was my dream to say, obviously I have to find a way to make new money. I had everything taken away from me. I wanted to make new money, but I said, wouldn't it be great as long as I'm a favorite son of God and asking, if you're a favorite son of God, Rick, you can ask for anything. And I said, what I'd really like is to make millions of dollars, like going to the gym. I want to get paid to be going to the gym and getting my body back to just optimal health. So I need time and financial freedom. I'm thinking Thor gets paid millions of dollars to build up his body to look like Thor in the gym. And I was like, well, I don't want to be an actor, but that's where the prayer started, was asking for time freedom and financial freedom so that I could get my health back and live on this earth a little longer, because nobody was going to be surprised if a 634-pound, 6'5" man did not wake up in the morning. They'd be surprised and say, gosh, but no one's going to be like, oh, I wonder what happened. Like, his heart gave out. He can't pump that much blood to that big of a body. Like, no surprise. So I knew I had very limited time. I was praying for an answer, and I had that answer given to me, was leveraging people that were way smarter than me. I didn't have to use my genius. There was people that had created something called a funnel, right? A step-by-step process to guide someone through a series of information that at the end of it, they could make a decision to participate or not. And they had a marketing team that did over $10 million worth of ad spend, meaning these are the best of the best as far as driving targeted traffic to that funnel that drives people through the information process. And at the end of it, I said, well, okay, so I got a bunch of leads coming through, but what then? They said, we've got people that are going to be sitting here answering. The story was that I ended up moving to Oahu after getting the money together. I leveraged the only thing I had left was a giant wood carving from Thailand, and I was able to leverage that in order to get funding so I could participate in this activity that I wanted to participate in. I didn't qualify for any loans. I didn't qualify for any of this stuff. And so that was a huge passion for what I did in the future, creating a company that would help people in startup situations, because no one would give me money for a startup business. They would only give me money for an existing business that could show cash flow coming in already and everything else. And I was like, well, I'm not there. I'm starting something. But no one would believe in me. So I got the loan from this business. I moved to Oahu. my son and I both rented a room together. So thankfully it was a master suite and could put 2 queen beds in there. But imagine living in Oahu in a private gated beach community for $700 a month for both of us, plus $50, $75 for electricity because we were sharing with 4 other rooms. And we lived very modestly, but that allowed us to put most of our money back into marketing, and that compounding of my whole background came from being a math genius, and yet the most obvious thing that was right in front of my face, and this came from meditation. I was floating in the water. I swam, did my high intensity training, and now I was resting, floating, praying, and just letting the waves and the energy float around me. And I had bills to pay and people to pay back. So I was expecting to take, I had $3,000 that I put into advertising with these marketing gurus and their system that works while I'm swimming and doing other things. And I said, oh, I'm going to, they said I could probably make 3 times my money as an estimate, rule of thumb based on past performance. I was like, 3 times in a year? And they said, no, in a month. And I was like, oh my God, I said, if I put in $3,000 and made back a total of $9,000, I said, I could pay my total cost with food and everything was a little over $1,200 for phones and food, $700 for rent, $50, $75 for and then food and stuff for my son and I. It was like $1,200. And so I was saying, okay, I'll put back $3,000 again into the future, but I'll take out the $6,000 and I'll pay my $1,200 of bills. And then I got other people to pay. I'll start paying back those people, right? Even if it's only $500 to this person and $1,000 to this person and $200 to this person, I'll start paying down my debts. And that was one of the things I got from a download was they don't care about starting now versus starting in 6 months. They know you're trying. They know you're getting your life back together. And God said, literally, roll it back in and let that money compound on itself. Derek, pulling out my own calculator, and anyone listening to this, I want you to pull out your calculator also, because even though we could all do multiples of 3 of math in our head, I want you to use a calculator, because what I did and showed my son so he would be on board, I'm not going to do the subtraction out of the $1,200 each month. It takes too much time. The point is, very simply, I took $3,000, I multiplied it by 3. That gave me the first month $9,000. But here was the big challenge. And having faith was putting it all back in again, taking out my little bit for on, but having faith to put it all back in again, trusting in the multimillionaires that designed this and the multimillionaires that were buying the ads, the traffic with that money, was having the faith to put it back in and like, oh, I don't want to lose this, but having faith, and that's what did it for me. So if you take your calculator, type in $3,000. It doesn't have to start with 3. That's what I did. And so I'm just using that as the number. Start with $3,000 times 3. And before you hit the enter sign, we already know it equals 9. There's not a person listening right now that doesn't know that 3,000 times 3 equals $9,000. That's not the question here. But just for fun, say in month 1, it grew to, and then say the number, hit equal sign and say the number. It grew to $9,000. And then say, without typing anything extra, just have to hit the equal sign usually. Just say, and in month 2, it grew to, and hit the equal sign, and now turns into 27,000. And then say in month 3, it turned into, and hit the equal sign, 81,000. In month 4, hit the equal sign, it's 243,000. In month 5, hit the equal sign, it's 729,000. And in month 6, which I can't even tell you how fast month 6 came around, it was over $2 million. And I sat here, so I was making more than 3x, because if you do that math and take out the $1,200, it would only equal like 1.89. I say only, tongue in cheek. Still a lot of money, but not quite 2.187 million or whatever. So I actually had $2.89 million, almost 2.2 in 6 months, starting with $3,000. and I was taking out that $1,200 a month. And
Wow.
that was life-changing for me. So I could now start having a cash flow where I was putting in 100,000, getting back 3, and just keep churning that over every single month while I was taking that other money and paying people back. And that was so much freedom to get out of that debt.
No, and at first that's a very powerful story, and I'm excited that you talked a little bit about the meditation and where your inspiration came from, and how you were able to take the three and generate revenue really that changed your life moving forward. I want to ask you really simple because I think it's super important. Maybe you can provide steps, really like what's the website, what's the information, how do you get involved? Can you give us a little bit of background so those who are listening, and you know how I am, you can already look in my eyes. I'm living this life of unstoppable, and don't be fooled. Me and Rick are going to do a whole bunch of stuff together. But right now, I just want to provide this as a resource to those of you who are tuning in and listening. So, Rick, I don't have the expertise, but I'll give it to you to kind of be a teacher and maybe provide some information.
Awesome. Well, the first step that somebody would want to do just to find out if they have interest in the kind of things that I'm talking about of having time and financial freedom is you're going to want to go to gettimeandfinancialfreedom.com. There's a little intro video, and then it asks you for your information just so we can follow up with you if you have any questions or whatnot. But just by entering your information, it's going to take you to that 7-step process that I'm talking about. That 7-step process is about an hour. And only for going through and setting up that time, you're going to have that opportunity to get a choice of a vacation. Just for putting in the time. Whether you decide to participate with me and go through this process that's allowed me to have this ultimate time and financial freedom that I've helped countless people I don't even know. Meaning that the marketing to people, I'm not having to talk to my friends and family. I'm not having to talk to people I know. I can, obviously, and I have, but I don't have to do that at all. I could literally be a deaf mute, put my little money into marketing, let the system go out and find people that are interested, that have raised their hands, that I'm interested in time and financial freedom. All of a sudden, the bottom line is people can go in and say simply, get timeandfinancialfreedom.com, put in your details, and then go spend an hour going through that process. Take notes. Whether you're interested or not, you're going to have an opportunity to write back to us. Right? My phone number is on that site. You can text. You can call me on WhatsApp. You can do anything you want to do to get a hold of us. We'll make sure you get that choice of a vacation, whether you decide to participate or not. If you decide to participate, we're going to be giving you, as a sponsor for my company, givescash.com, we're going to be giving you the first $500 towards any of those participation levels, because when you come through the system, you get to decide how much you want to receive from the world, right? First, you must give before you receive. First, you must give, and then when the system goes and finds people who want to give to you, the first person, you've got to give to somebody else. So step one is you got to give first. Second thing is you've got to give up the first person that tries to give you something. And you say, no, give it to somebody else, please. And the computer system does all this. You don't have to talk to somebody. It does it for you. But after that, you're open to receive gifts from people all over the world, and they're all tax-free gifts. So there's participation levels as little as $500, $1,500, $3,500, $6,500, and $10,500, of which you can get those in whole gifts or partial gifts. The point is, you can start at the $500 level and keep adding and building your way up as you bring in money from people from all over the world. What I'm offering to everyone listening to this is very simply this. If you decide after going through those 7 steps, you're already going to get a vacation from us. But givescash.com is where I tell you to go to apply for funding so you can buy in at whatever level you want to pay for as that first opportunity. It's not a business, so it's not startup business funding, but my company can give you 0% interest to give that that money if you don't have it to start out with. So you can apply at givescash.com. It doesn't hurt your credit. They'll walk you through very gingerly, see if they can help you. If they can't, still reach out to me because I've got lots of other methods to be able to help you if they can't, right? But here's the promise. 2 things. Just for spending the time, I'm going to give you a choice of 125 locations for a vacation. That's step 1, just for exchange of time. If you decide you want to participate, saying, this sounds amazing, I'm going to give you your first $500. Meaning, normally, what was step 1? Step 1, you have to give first. So to activate everything, you would have to give one of those things, 500 up to 10,500. And what I'm saying is, instead of giving me 500, I'm going to check you off as if you did hand me that 500. So whether you're starting at 500 or all the way up to the 10,500, you would be subtracting out $500 of that gift that you would have to normally be giving to us first, because we're going to check you off as our gift to you. And it's the same thing as giving you $500. So those are my 2 steps. 1, go to gettimeandfinancialfreedom.com and go through the 7-step process just to find out if you have an interest at all. Get that free vacation. 2nd step, go to givescash.com. That's GIVES cash.com. So givescash.com. Again, it does not hurt your credit. Do not prejudge yourself and say, oh, I would never qualify, because the reason why Wells Fargo Bank and lots of other the biggest banks in the world go to us for startup business capital is that we've got ways that nobody else has. That's why we're so top in the world and used by the biggest banks, is because we can say yes when most banks say no, and it's at 0% interest. So those are my 2 big steps there for people to participate.
Okay, no, that's great. That's great, and like I said before, I'm excited, and I'm excited that you're at least sharing information for people who realize the importance of having cash flow and the time opportunity that it creates, and the freedom that it creates, and the ability to not have your revenue controlled by a president or a CEO of an organization. And so everything that you're saying, very empowering, very supportive and helpful, and I love your spirit. And so I got one more thing I want to talk to you about, and this will be my last question for our interview today. Talk about how you lost that weight. I mean, I'm looking at your body right now. You look phenomenal. Yeah, your arms look good. You got on, nice gear. And so, how did you lose that weight, man? Because as you can tell, I've lost a little weight too. But I'm trying to figure out, how can we get people who are getting ready to go into the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, how can we get them prepared to have a long lasting journey?
Yeah, so 90 plus percent. So the reason why I got heavy in the first place was because of immobility. And then, normally if let's just say I've got mentally weak and put on a bunch of weight, whatever the reason is, I would normally be able to go back to my athletic background and be like, oh, I'm going to go work this off. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise my butt off, and I'm going to get to the result. And I couldn't move because of my back. I couldn't be on my feet. So I sat here, got into the pool. So the first thing I did was I did use an infrared sauna, which is a medical device. So I was able to get a doctor to give me a prescription so they could write it off my insurance plan, and my insurance paid for it. But you don't have to have an infrared sauna. That was helped me because I was so massive, over 600 pounds massive. So they wanted me to get burn off me without, because I couldn't get into a pool yet. I couldn't get mobile even to get into a pool. Even the carrier that lifts you and puts you in the pool couldn't hold a 600-pound person. So even the weight assisted thing, they said, you'd have to walk and get in the pool. And I couldn't do that with my body and my back at that time. So I had to lose a bunch of weight first. But here's, for most people out there, there's very few people going to be on the phone call that are 600 pounds or anywhere close to that. So the number one thing that I got involved with, Derek, was something called intermittent fasting, which I'm a guy that grew up on a ranch. We grew our own fruits and vegetables and meat, and we ate 3 main meals a day, but we had snacks, right? So I was eating 5-6 meals a day, incredible shape. And I just thought you needed that in order to live. And so I started doing intermittent fasting, which is a period of time where you have a window that you're eating. A lot of people do for like 12 to 8 or 12 to 6, like a 6 to 8 hour eating window. And that's usually where people start. I started from just a 2 to 6 hour window because I rarely was hungry. I was a very high energy person. So I only ate between 2 and 6 p.m. And then I wouldn't eat the rest of the time, just drinking lots of water. And that for me worked out great. And then I started realizing that, I was eating starting exactly at 2. I would eat, take me about 20, 30 minutes to eat. And then I remember I'd start eating at 5:30 so I could be finished by 6. And I seemed like I was forcing that second meal down. I wasn't hungry at all, but I'm like, I got to eat because my window. And I read about people just doing 1 chew a day. Chew means eating. Sometimes I'll have a smoothie or some kind of blended, drink or something to start the day. Very rarely, but sometimes I do that. But that's what I did. And I just went to 1 meal a day, very healthy meal, making sure that I learned about food combining, that steak and potatoes aren't supposed to go together. I didn't know that my whole life. Always had steak and potatoes, but I would look up and learn a little bit about food combining. And that those 2 things are the most things. I just drink water. I've never put a person to smoke, drink, or do drugs. So it wasn't like I had to give up my habit of Coca-Cola or something like that. That's one of the biggest. Soda pop is one of the biggest, whether you call it soda or pop or whatever. Those 2 things are one of the biggest things that they put on lots of excess weight, calories that don't need to be there. But yeah, drinking lots of water. I do drink special water. So I have a hydrogen machine that makes water, but that wasn't a key factor. Just any type of clean water should do the trick, but water's not all created equal. I would highly look into hydrogen water, but yeah, lots of water, moving. So swimming was my movement because I couldn't be on my feet. I ended up getting this near fatal bacterial infection in my feet. So I couldn't even be on my feet, and I still needed to lose weight. And so I was sitting here just being able to get into the water. That was my big love language, was getting in the water.
Well, and again, like I said, what you were able to do, and this is why I want to continue to support you and provide opportunities to share information. Your mental toughness and your mental health and your ability to have X amount of millions of dollars stolen from you, get up to 600 pounds, and now not only lose the weight, but now become another millionaire again, speaks to your mindset and how mentally strong you are. And that's part of being unstoppable, because at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing right now. We're trying to highlight people who have overcome things that would have broken other people, would have destroyed them, would have just made them curl up into the fetal position and call it a day. But that's not who you are. That's not who you have been, and that's not who you're going to be in the future. And I'm thankful to get a chance to interview you on the Unstoppable podcast today. Is there anything you want to say in the next 60 seconds? Is there anything you want to say?
There's a book series called Chicken Soup for the Soul that's sold over, I don't know if it's 1 billion books now. It's a crazy number. Chicken soup means it makes you feel good, right? Chicken soup makes you feel good when you're sick, not feeling great. Chicken Soup for the Soul means it makes your heart feel good. There's a gentleman I found online that someone sent me who goes by the name of Jimmy Darts, like throwing a dart, but darts with an S on the end. That's not his last name. That's just his online persona. But he does something called undercover kindness, where he asks for some little help. I need $1 or $2 for the bus. My car broke down. Will you help me push my car, fix a flat tire, something where somebody offers the help. And he's called it undercover kindness. And he rewards those people and gives them $500, gives them thousands of dollars, sometimes up to $10,000. I've even seen him give cars and raise money for people that were in dire straits, where they've given $50,000 and $70,000 to somebody. Go look this person up online, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok or anywhere, Jimmy Darts, and you'll see these principles that I talk about in this. Our system's been going since 2001, right? Created by some amazing lawyers that, and I know that's a little bit of an oxymoron, amazing, and lawyers, people usually hate lawyers, but they do have their time and place. And they created a system using these loopholes that allow all this money that I've made to be tax-free, which exponentially grows your wealth. When you can take out your biggest expense in our lifetimes is taxes. Taking that off my table, all these hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars are all tax dollars. It's mind-blowing, but Jimmy Darts goes out and finds people to be able to give these $500 to. And the first lesson I saw that it truly does feel amazing to give someone money. So when your listeners, normally I'm kind of robbing them of that first $500 gift that they're supposed to give to somebody else, but I don't care. There's plenty more opportunities they can give. My point is, the first step is giving like Jimmy Darts does. And then the second thing is he'll go up to somebody who's done some amazing act of kindness where he's rewarding them with the $500, sometimes $1,000. And they say, oh my gosh, please give it to somebody else. A mother that has kids, somebody else. And it's just amazing. So those are the two steps. We first give, right? And then we receive. And we have to give up that first gift that we receive. And then we can just receive endless amounts of gifts from people that God just brings in your life. It's amazing.
Well, I appreciate you. I'm going to let you go, but thank you for being a part of it.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
Take care. We'll be in contact. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Thank you very much for being unstoppable call.
Well, thank you, Derek Bowles with Unstoppables and his special guest. They're really informative. And now, Maple Leafs closing in on the second intermission, lead the Los Angeles Kings 4-0. They scored 3 goals in 66 seconds. We're going to talk with Marty Roberts as we close out Maple Leafs Forever. And we have a special guest just added now, and yeah, she wasn't on here for about a month already. Taylor Woods of the Toronto Six with Marty Roberts going to chime in as we close the show out. But right now, we did crunching the numbers. I'm going to get the Fantasy Grill with our good friend, sports fluent Anthony K. He's going to give you the Fantasy Grill. Then it's followed by myself and John Lomino on the Wrestling Show. Here is Anthony K.
Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen, bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins.
Welcome, everybody, to the Fantasy Grill. I'm Anthony K. Here on the Fired Up Network, you can find me at sports_fluent. That's IG, Twitter, and TikTok. This week, we're going to take you through the top performers, the top fantasy performers of last week, the top 5. One of them will surprise you. We're also going to take you through the worst, at least maybe not the worst 5 performers, but at least my 5 biggest disappointments from last week in NFL fantasy. I'll give you some starts. We're going to talk about some wire picks, and I know what you're thinking, like, but I did my waivers a couple of days ago. I know, but here are people that still might be available that you need to pick up for your playoff run. So let's kick it off with the top 5 performers week. Yes, I've got my handy note card ready, because who can remember all this stuff off the top of their heads? Not me. So here we go. Top 5 performers last week. We're starting with number 5. No, you know what? Let's start at number 1. Let's give the best performer top billing, because you know what? They deserve it. Because we've been giving Devontae Adams a pretty hard time, but I don't think it's necessarily his fault based on the fact that Derek Carr has really been underperforming. Heck, the entire Las Vegas Raiders team has been a huge, huge disappointment this season. So that being said, here we go. Number 1, Devontae Adams, best performer of the week. Number 2, Amon St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. Wide receivers at the 1 and 2 spot. I told you wide receivers are important this year. More important, maybe, and this is in PPR leagues, maybe a little bit more important than even running backs. Who knows? Maybe that 0 RB strategy that you used during the draft, maybe it's paying dividends. I don't know. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. I get it. You're going to say, but he's kind of a running back. Well, quarterback, running back, a quarterback that can run and get you yards on the ground or even rushing touchdowns. That is the key to a good quarterback in fantasy football. Number 4, A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts has a good week. A.J. Brown has a good week. I like it. And number 5, and this is where the surprise comes in. Number 5 is the Cleveland Browns defense and special teams. Yeah, I told you about 2 weeks ago, look for the matchups. Whoever is playing the Houston Texans, look at their defense. And I'm going to continue that trend moving forward. I actually picked up Kansas City this week because they're playing Houston in 2 weeks. And I think that's going to be a big game. People seem to forget Kansas City. You don't think of them for defense, but when you think of fantasy, Kansas City has been a surprisingly good fantasy defense over the last 5, 6, 7 years. They almost every year rank in the top 10, a couple of years out, but a couple of years even in the top 5. So there's your play for a couple of weeks from now. It's the Kansas City Chiefs or any team, like I said. This week, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, our worst 5, or like I said, my most disappointing. Yeah, you can boo him. Why not? So let me start with honorable mention. Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is not only a disappointing this week, disappointing season for Alvin Kamara. He used to be a set him and forget him at the running back position, but this year no longer. You actually have to look at matchups. You have to look at who else you have and their matchups and decide if you're going to start Alvin Kamara this season. So he's the honorable mention. Coming in at number 5, Nick Chubb with 8 points. Very disappointing, especially in a blowout against the Houston Texans. You thought they'd run the ball a little bit. He'd get some points. Same game, same team. Amari Cooper with 8 points. You expect more from these guys, at least double digits. 8 is not enough, unlike the show used to, when I grew up at least, that show used to say 8 is enough. 8 is not enough. Number 3, and this is just a disappointing real football, fantasy football, week in, week out. I might just put him in at number 3 every single week. And that's Russell Wilson with 7.66 points. If it was me, I'd put 666 because he's been killing us over this season. And let me pause there for a minute and tell you, go take a look at Russell Wilson's contract. It is brutal. The extension kicks in after next season. After next season, he's going to be making so much money over the first 2 or 3 years, which is 3 years from now. And they can't even cut or buy him off. It'll cost them hundreds of millions of dollars in dead cap space. This Denver Broncos team has now been set back at least 10 years because of this Russell Wilson contract. It is brutal. I'll give you all the details. Come to my TikTok page at sports_fluent. I'm going to go through the entire Denver Bronco, at least Russell Wilson, horrible contract that you're in. Number 2, Travis Kelce, 7.6 points out of my tight end 1. Can't have it, especially in a season where you're not getting anything from any tight end. I need Kelce to be that guy, especially because I have him in one of my team of my league of record. So I definitely need better than that from Travis Kelce. And number 1, King Henry, 5.8 points from Tennessee. Listen, that's their offense. It's Derrick Henry. So I need you to get more than 5 points, Derrick Henry. I need you. All right. Let's go to our starts of the week. At quarterback, we're starting Geno Smith. You know, I kept making fun of him that, we wrote him off and he didn't write back and we all had a great laugh. Man, he's having a great season. Start him with confidence against the Carolina Panthers. At your running back position, Tony Pollard. Yes, this is now the Tony Pollard show in Dallas. Big D going up against that Houston Texans defense. He's going to have a big game. And at wide receiver, I'm starting Garrett Wilson. Versus the Bills, I sure am. Look for him to have a big day. Let's go Jets. 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 And honorable I don't know if this is honorable mention, but I normally don't talk about defenses to start. But if you're streaming defenses, you have to start the Dallas Cowboys defense. One, because they're great, but two, they're going up against Houston. Cleveland was a top 5 scoring defense last week against Houston. You might see even bigger numbers this week out of Dallas. Then we move from the starts to the sits. Here we go. If you're sitting on a choice of quarterbacks and Tom Brady is one of them, start the other one. Tom Brady is a sit this week against that 49ers defense. We don't know who's going to be quarterback for the 49ers. It's going to be a low-scoring game, especially for Tampa Bay. Expect to win this one, but you never know with Tom Brady. Who we kidding? But don't expect for him to have big fantasy numbers this week. At the running back position, I know we've started to look at Latavius Murray as a start, and you say, but Kansas City, it's against the Kansas City defense. Yeah, with the return of Mike Boone, surprisingly better than you think defense. The Broncos can't get anything offensively. They're going up against a team that is put up points even on that Denver Broncos defense. So they're gonna, I don't know how they're gonna throw, but they're gonna have to try to throw, and that just puts Latavius Murray in a bad situation. They're gonna be down there in the ball a lot. He's also now going to be sharing time with the return of Mike Boone. So it's a bad scenario for Latavius Murray. The next one, Devontae Smith of the Philadelphia Eagles up against the New York Giants. Divisional matchup. Expect it to be a close game. Expect it to be a lower scoring game. Smith is a sit-em this week. All right. So we're going to end things off with, so here are the guys that should have picked up already. So this is a reminder. We talked about them last week with the fantasy gods who will be on next week. And we talked about these guys. And if you missed it, or some of these are under 20% rostered. In the first one, I think is still only 7% rostered. So look at James Cook. As of the Buffalo Bills. If you haven't picked him up already, if he's available in your league, pick him up. I'm going to give you a bonus running back. But first, I got to tell you, NFL.com, look at this picture. Man, they did DJ Dallas dirty. Or maybe I don't know, maybe that's just how he looks all the time. But I think they could have got a better picture of him. But anyways, DJ Dallas, there's some uncertainty about Kenneth Walker's health now with that ankle sprain, although DJ also might be suffering a high ankle sprain. If he's healthy and Kenneth Walker is hurt, that's an opportunity to plug him into your lineup. At wide receiver, who we're looking at, Demarcus Robinson is probably someone who you should be looking at who is not rostered in a lot of leagues. Back to Noah Fant as your tight end. Listen, we're all trying to figure out what the heck to do in the tight end position. No offense is as good as any option. If you stream quarterbacks in a 2 QB league, maybe you're in a super flex, here's some quarterbacks you should look at if you don't have them on your roster already. Jared Goff. Obviously, there's an injury to Lamar Jackson. If he's not able to go, Tyler Huntley. Obviously, we know what he can do also with his legs. And don't be fooled by Deshaun Watson. Don't give up on Deshaun Watson. For those of you that picked him up and kind of stashed him, if he's available in your league and you have a roster spot, slide him in there. He might be a sneaky fantasy championship winner. If depending on what your quarterback situation is, take a look at Deshaun Watson. And that's it for this week in the Fantasy Grill.
Now you're more fluent.
Yeah, holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen, bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespin.
Well, thank you, Anthony K, Sports Fluent, the Fantasy Grill. He was here for Crunching the Numbers and for Fantasy Grill. And now we're going to present the wrestling show / the On the Mat wrestling show with myself and Giancarlo Alino, where we talk about the WWE, AEW, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite. Plus, we preview one pay-per-view, one Premier Live event this weekend. Of course, Ring of Honor, Final Battle, and NXT Deadline. And we also preview tomorrow's Bellator 289 and UFC's 282 with myself and Giancarlo Alino. And the Maple Leafs have gone to the second intermission, leading the Los Angeles Kings by a score of 4-0. Mitch Marner has scored, so his point streak is now 21 games. Here is the Wrestling Show. Everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to the Wrestling Show. Welcome to Giancarlo Alino. Enough welcoming. Get it? All right, Giancarlo, let's talk about the week that was, or the week that will be, or the week that, well, it's wrestling. It's the Wrestling Show. Let's talk about, start off with the week that was. SmackDown last week. Do you remember anything? No, right? You know what
Yeah,
I
I
remember?
remember Bray Wyatt.
I remember one thing. Ricochet is your World Cup champion. USA, number one. Really? They spent one more day than Canada. But anyways, Ricochet is your new World Cup champion. That means, you know what that means? Ricochet is going to be eaten alive by Gunther. Do you agree?
Yeah, I like the main event though. That was a fun match. Yeah, just the matchup here with Gunther and Ricochet. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but yeah, Gunther. I don't think he'll lose the title to Ricochet, but it should be a fun match.
You know how it's going to be played out? But Get These Hands going to get involved. That sets up the feud between Get These Hands, Braun Strowman, and Gunther. All right? So that's anything else you want to touch on SmackDown? Selena Vega looks great. That's all I'm saying. And nothing really else but Sami Zayn, the Uso. All right? Then we go to Raw. All right? Matt Riddle written off. Off. Could we see Matt Riddle come back for the tag team championship closer to WrestleMania with who? With who? Randy Orton. He's been
Would
written
make
off,
sense.
and then they capture the tag team titles probably at WrestleMania or whatever. But he's written off there. Also, let me see. Let me see your watch, Giancarlo. You have a watch or what? Is it
No.
fake, like the Miz, or what? JBL's like that poker tournament and all that. If JBL invites you to poker tournament, do you have $50 to throw in that poker tournament or what?
No, if I see Dexter Loomis, that means you're gonna lose, and he'll pull out the axe. So I would decline that invite.
So hold on, Tamina. What did Tamina and Dana Brooke do? Like honestly, what are they, statues there or what? Like enough with this. And then they're again teasing with Kevin Owens coming on. So Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Where do you think this is going to lead to, and how fast? Because at the Royal Rumble, you could see Kevin Owens take on Roman Reigns again, and that is like a schmoz because something's going to happen. The next Premier Live event is an Elimination Chamber in Montreal. So either Kevin Owens headlines or Sami Zayn headlines, and then that starts off like again. The plan is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to team up and probably take on the Usos, but what about Riddle and Randy Orton, like we said? So it's again, are they holding two belts? Are they going to defend both belts? Roman Reigns, is he going to defend both belts? There are rumors that The Rock will come in and win the Royal Rumble, and then Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But what about Cody Rhodes? Does Cody Rhodes win? Like, oh my gosh, what do you say this? I'm mindful of all this.
Yeah, I think Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, and that's where they turn on Sami Zayn after the match, leading to Sami Zayn stepping in to take on Roman at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, and they continue to build up for The Rock to face Roman at WrestleMania. I know it would make sense to have The Rock be a surprise entrant, but they want to take advantage of it marketing wise. So I think he'll be announced for the match sometime in January. But I do see some other surprises like Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold being surprise entrants. So I think those guys will go with unadvertised. But if you're going to take advantage of the marketing, I think The Rock should be advertised for the match.
Well, here's the big problem, all right? Here that nobody's talking about. You mentioned Shawn Michaels. Where's he from? San Antonio, Texas. Where's the Royal Rumble from? San Antonio, Texas. And do I dare tell you that Stone Cold Steve Austin, where is he from? All right? Texas. Where do I dare tell you who came back to the WWE? Who's now sort of a manager? JBL. Where's he from? Booker T. Where's he from? Also, okay, I gotta be honest. I heard rumors that Ric Flair is gonna come and participate. He could do that. Just somebody clothesline him or whatever over the top rope, and he's there for 10 seconds, and that the Royal Rumble is gonna be interesting to say the least because there's so many things. Cody Rhodes coming back. Is Randy Orton coming back? We know somebody is coming back, but he can't be on camera now. Yes, I'm revealing it here. William Regal is now gone from AEW. They written off. We'll talk about that in a couple seconds. But he's now a coach, and he cannot be an on-camera figure for a year. That's the deal there. So he can't be an on. So he'll be coaching his son, who got a big victory on NXT this week. Dempsey there got a big victory, but he'll coach his son. The WWE's happy about it and everything like that. Would you rather see William Regal as an on-character role or behind the scenes, Giancarlo?
To me, it doesn't really matter. Like when he was in WWE on NXT, he was the manager role, but they use him more for backstage. That's where his influence is really highlighted the most. He can really zone in on some of the guys. Shawn Michaels is kind of that role for NXT. So I think Regal will be there and backstage role helping along the show. So I think it's a positive, and he doesn't need to be on camera, I don't think, at this stage.
Giancarlo, I'm a little bit worried because that poster of Italy soccer, there's some flashing, like something flashing, like a white rabbit or something like that. Is Alexa Bliss close to you or what? Alexa Bliss, she won. Now she's gonna take on our Bailey and all. Alexa Bliss is gonna win that. Okay, Alexa Bliss against Bailey to determine the number one contender to the ladies' title. The winner takes on Bianca, but looks like Alexa Bliss. She may have something to do with Bray Wyatt. Maybe Alexa Bliss is taking out. Let me talk to you, L.A. Knight. Do you think that Alexa Bliss is taking out L.A. Knight?
I think there's a lot more members of that stable, so it'll probably be revealed that it's Eric Rowan or Bo Dallas in the next couple months. But I do see like Alexa Bliss joining them, so I think that's because there are 4 members out of the 6, and maybe Braun Strowman eventually. But I think Bray Wyatt, they have plans to really focus in on someone on SmackDown and continue using Alexa Bliss on Raw to further that whole storyline.
All right. Anything from Raw that you want to add? No.
Yeah, that was a great poker game won by Dexter Loomis. He's making a lot of money back that he lost before, so he's having a nice month there in WWE.
And yeah, this guy's loaded, man. But too bad. Hey, Dexter, Giancarlo and me need a loan here. And that's all. That's all he's gonna say. All right, let's get to AEW here. They written off, like I talked about a couple seconds ago, William Regal with an interview by Tony Schiavone. Apparently, 2 weeks before he was gonna leave and all that. Go ahead, tell me about that interview because are you Blackpool for life?
Yeah, this whole thing of him being written off, I think they did it well with MJF. The interview segment made it worse. Like they didn't really need to do that. They did it perfectly last week. They should have just ended it there. Now it just adds more questions like William Regal leaving. Like they could have just ended it with that one turn by MJF and it would have been fine. But now it just doesn't make sense and turns the whole story upside down pretty much there with the Blackpool Combat Club.
Hold on. What do you mean doesn't make sense? He came on and said he did it to toughen up John Moxley, to toughen up Claudio. These guys could teach Wheeler Yuta and all that. He sort of hinted that Wheeler Yuta needed help, so they built a storyline within that Wheeler Yuta could turn on Claudio and John Moxley. John Moxley is he's ego driven, so he could already see John Moxley cut a promo on Dynamite saying Rampage, he's going to take on whoever. We already know because it happened. but he's going to take on somebody, and these guys, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, are going to do the job Saturday at Final Battle. So John Moxley's the head because of his ego, like William Regal stated. So William Regal, basically, on his way out, has created 6 months of storytelling. No?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think once Claudio is JAS for life and Brian Danielson takes a little bit of time off, this whole thing is not going to make sense. So hopefully for Wheeler Yuta, it leads to something big, but I have a feeling he's just going to be taking losses against the big names here in AEW for the next couple of months.
Brian Danielson is going to start a feud with MJF, and you'll see, I'll spoil this. You'll see the beginning of that feud happening January 4th when AEW Dynamite's from Seattle, because Daniel Bryan is from Seattle, Washington, around their area. You'll see a little bit of a feud start, and apparently that full-blown match will happen at the next AEW pay-per-view in March from San Francisco, home of Golden State Warriors. All right, so now I'm going to ask you a couple things about AEW. Ricky Starks, MJF promo. What do you have to say about that?
About time they gave him some TV time. Like, how many times have I said it's a shame that Ricky Starks, Swerve, these guys that are miscasting roles don't get TV time, and you see
What
them
about
now in the
Miro?
proper
Miro
role.
has 4 matches the whole year. That's Miro. He's been crushed.
Yeah, like that's where they have to reevaluate. Like, instead of having William Regal up in our and being in a backstage role, everyone focused on that. Focus on guys that actually are like Miro and that can make a difference on your programming, and try to figure out something there. So that's where they need to turn their attention to, instead of worrying about a guy going to WWE in a backstage role. It means nothing.
In 1 year, you have nothing for Miro. Like, I'll tell you what, I know Tony Khan, TK, Tony Khan, all right? Listen. I'll give you a storyline with Miro. You want a storyline with Miro right now? Miro and Big Cass. Firm against Miro, and he takes out all the Firm. There's the storyline, Miro. You know, you could put Miro. Why isn't Miro in the Blackpool Combat Club? And there's another tough guy. Cesaro is a great wrestler. Okay, Wheeler Yuta, up and coming wrestler. John Moxley, champion already, doesn't give a crap, right? Miro could be like the strong man, everything like that. Put him there. I already gave you 2 storylines from in 1 year. You can't have but House of Black comes back and they're gonna take out everybody. But that's the storyline they gave him that. Even Dustin Rhodes comes back. 2023 is going to be his last year. Whatever. They already have storylines for everybody made, but you can't get a storyline for Andrade, even though he's a little bit injured, and Miro. Come on, seriously, come on. I thought Ricky Starks, the promo, he did better than MJF. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he did better than MJF. That promo there. But I want to talk about this. The main event of Dynamite last night was for the tag team titles. FTR against Scissor Me Daddy-O. Yes, the Acclaim. The Acclaim going over FTR. Is that a mistake?
No, they're the AEW tag champs, and they took on the Ring of Honor tag champs. That's exactly what should have happened.
So you're telling me the Acclaim is better than FTR?
Well, for
FTR
now,
went
like,
over like crazy, but the Acclaim has Scissor Me Daddy-O. And look, that gets you over. What? I said what? It gets you over. Scissor Me Daddy-O gets you over the Acclaim, over the FTR, who are wrestlers. Is it sports entertainment you want, or is it wrestling? By the way, March 14th, AEW comes to the second Canadian city. Yes, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And how much you want? I don't even know this. I'm just speculating. How much you want to bet that the main event will be Chris Jericho Kenny Omega, referee Don Callis. How about that? You think Winnipeg will pop for that one?
Who do they cheer for?
Doesn't matter who they cheer for. They're not cheering for the Winnipeg Jets, I'll tell you that. All right. But congratulations there. And looks like May and November, AEW is going to come back to Toronto. That's what I heard. So there you go. And next week, did you know next week winter is coming?
I
You knew
heard.
that?
Looked at the calendar. It's getting cold soon.
In Toronto, it looks like Sunday winter is coming, but I digressed about that. But are AEW dropping the ball on most of these wrestlers? Like, who knows who's in Ring of Honor? Like, they got a separate brand. Nobody knows. Is it going to be, Brian Cage? Is he AEW or Ring of Honor? William Morrissey, Cass, is he AEW or Ring of Honor? Ethan Page, supposed to be AEW, but watch him show up in Ring of Honor. Like, who is Ring of Honor and who is AEW? Giancarlo.
This is why they need to do a better job with identifying which roster their stars are where. So like that, when they have a TV deal, it's not like a big surprise when half of them don't show up because the network finds out that they're not actually Ring of Honor talent. So they have to start signing guys to contracts to Ring of Honor, so like that. When they present it, they could say these guys who you can expect every week on our TV show.
Dalton Castle. He's been on AEW more times than he's been on Ring of Honor. But is he Ring of Honor?
He's also been on the YouTube show more than some guys like Miro have been in the company. So that's another one. He's had more matches there.
I don't know about Ring of Honor, about Dalton Castle, about whatever. What I do know that Saturday, Giancarlo and I are going to be busy. First of all, I don't know if you know this. There's 2 World Cup soccer games on Saturday, Giancarlo, all right? 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. But there's 2, well, 1 Premier Live event and 1 pay-per-view. The first pay-per-view is going to be Ring of Honor, all right? That's the first pay-per-view. That's going to be Ring of Honor. It starts 3 p.m., the pre-show, Ring of Honor Final Battle. Final Battle, meaning it's the final battle of 2022. Or is it the final battle of 2000? Because there's 3 more weeks. They're not going to have Ring of Honor shows in 3 weeks. Who knows about AEW here? All right? But Ring of Honor Final Battle coming to you 3 p.m., 4 p.m., the pay-per-view portion. Let's get to the On the Mat wrestling show where we're going to preview Ring of Honor Final Battle. Let's go to it. World 6-man Tag Team Championship match. Dalton Castle and the boys. Who are the boys? Who cares? Versus the Embassy. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
This would be a good win for Dalton Castle. So I think he's going to win this match. He's going to get the hot tag and come in there, clean house, and pick up the big win.
All right. Then tag team match. Serve in our glory. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland are going to turn on each other versus JD and Shane Taylor. I like to see Shane Taylor. We interviewed him on the Fired Up Network about a year and a half ago. What do you say? Who's going to win this match?
Yeah, I think this is a predictable match. We saw Keith Lee turn on Swerve at the last event, so I think Swerve gets him back and leaves Keith Lee out to dry and just walks out on him. So I got them losing this match.
Shane Taylor's going to look like a monster in this match, all right? Ring of Honor World TV Championship. Samoa Joe, who destroys everything, will take on Juice Robinson, all right? And Giancarlo, who's your pick? I know who you're going to pick, but I'm going to go the opposite way. The opposite way, okay? Go ahead. Who's your pick?
Yeah, I think it would be good for Samoa Joe to continue the reign there. They want to go with him holding both titles, but I think Wardlow comes out and costs him, and Juice Robertson gets a win.
Finally, Giancarlo's got something right. He can't hold 2 titles. He's going to be the TNT championship. And they got to get. Why they sign Juice Robinson? Because they're already not using wrestlers. Use them for Ring of Honor there, all right? I'm calling Juice Robinson to win the TV title there, all right? Now, let's get to some ladies action here for the Ring of Honor World Ladies Championship. Mercedes Martinez versus Athena. Now they've been giving. This is my point exactly. They've been giving Athena a big Ember Moon, a big push recently. Now she's AEW, correct? If she
Yeah.
becomes a Ring of Honor champion, does that mean we will never see her again?
Oh, already she's been on YouTube for the last 3 months, so wouldn't be much of a difference. So yeah, maybe.
So does she win?
I think they really need to do something with her to put her in a like bigger spot. Like when she first signed with AEW, it was like, okay, she's finally going to get a big push, and it was no different than her time in WWE. So for her sake, I hope she gets this win and finally builds some traction there in her character, and maybe Ring of Honor being the champion there is going to be the way to do it. So I think Athena gets a win here.
All right. Now, Ring of Honor Pure Championship match. This could be a show stealer. Like honestly, Daniel Garcia versus Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, I think Garcia is not going to be the champion after this event. I think Wheeler Yuta comes in and he's going to get his win and lead to more tension there with Claudio after what happens in the main event. So I got Wheeler Yuta becoming the champion.
All right, and then they just added this, and it was a great creative way how they're adding this Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship double dog collar match. FTR versus the boys, the Briscoes.
A double dog collar match. Wow.
Have you been in a dog collar, Giancarlo?
This is going to be one of those matches that I could either go really good or it might be awful for like just a presentation on TV, like how it's going to work. People might be confused, but I think FTR retains here. I don't see them losing the titles here to the Briscoes.
They had, I believe this is the part 3. Are they going to have like a 7-match series or whatever? But I don't know. With FTR losing and the Briscoes are Ring of Honor, just like I'll get to who's Ring of Honor, who's this so far. I could have a sneaky feeling that the Briscoes beating FTR, and then they have to regroup because FTR losing to the Acclaim. Then 3 days later, they lose to the Briscoes. So they need a big win. And this, like, honestly, I expect big things from this match. Now, before we get to the main event, all right, the main event, of course, Chris Jericho versus Claudio. All right, Chris Jericho, Ring of Honor champion, but really AEW. Claudio in Ring of Honor was Ring of Honor champion, but really AEW. So that's 2 for 2, right? Daniel Garcia, really AEW. Wheeler Yuta, AEW. Okay. Mercedes Martinez, question mark. Athena, AEW. Okay. So far, if you want to say, out of these 6 wrestlers, 5 of them are AEW. 1, maybe. All right. Then you got Samoa Joe, which is AEW. Juice Robinson, again, a maybe. Okay. Then you got Swerve and Glory, AEW versus Shane Taylor, who's Ring of Honor, and JD. Okay, we'll give Ring of Honor there. Okay. Then you got FTR, AEW, Briscoes for sure, Ring of Honor. Okay. Then you got the NBC, which is AEW, versus Dalton Castle and the boys. Like I mentioned, Dalton Castle and the boys have been more on AEW. So in this card, honestly, three to 4 people I could mention are Ring of Honor. Is this the Ring of Honor final battle? Or is it AEW final battle? Or is Winter's coming before the final or after the final battle, but Winter's coming the next? Whatever. All right. Claudio versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor title. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris Jericho is going to retain. I would be surprised if they have this whole event and don't announce anything about a TV deal or make light of it or even tease something that is closed, because I think Jericho being the champion the whole time was for that sole reason of securing a deal there. So I think they got to continue with it. I think Jericho wins, and this is where the tension's going to start with Wheeler Yuta and Claudio, because in the Blackpool Combat Club, the other guys there, they were veterans and champions, and now Wheeler Yuta is going to probably have a title, and he's going to tell them that he's a champion, and maybe their advice isn't really working for him, and that's where it's going to cause the group to break up, and that's where I think it's going to go towards.
All right, I agree with you there. So don't forget, Ring of Honor's final battle happens Saturday, December 10th, 3 p.m. the pre-show, 4 p.m. 4 p.m. the live show, the main card again on pay-per-view. Remember, this is a pay-per-view, Giancarlo, not premier live event. This is a pay-per-view. All right, and I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people have asked me, and Giancarlo, I know you're thinking about this. Usually AEW's pay-per-views are 4.5 hours long. This will not be 4.5 hours long. This will be about 2 hours 45, 2 hours 50 minutes long, maybe even shorter. So it's from 4 to, let's say, 7. Okay, from 4 to 7. But like I mentioned, we have another show Saturday. It's a premier live event, and it's NXT Deadline. Yes, NXT Deadline, which will begin at 8 p.m., 7:30 the pre-show, but 8 p.m. the main show, and this too will not be a 4-hour show. So if you want to watch the Maple Leaf game, you could watch the first period from 7. Never mind. All right, so let's get to the NXT line premier live event. Let's start off with Fire versus Isla Dawn.
Yeah, this is this. I guess I don't know how this feud really picked up. Like it came out of nowhere, but I think Fire is going to win this and maybe build more momentum there. I just don't see it going like too long. I think this might be a shorter match than some people think it would be. I think they have a lot of time planned for the main event, so I think a lot of these matches will be filler. So I got Fire winning here.
This is going to be a snooze fest. Who cares who wins? All right, they didn't build up any of them. So then the NXT Tag Team Championship. We got Pretty Deadly. Are they pretty or are they deadly? Anyways, versus the New Day. Now, hold on. I'm going to be honest. New Day, arguably the second greatest tag team in WWE history. The Usos number one. Okay, do you agree with that? It doesn't matter because it is true. All right, and now they want the New Day to come to NXT and to win the tag team titles. I could see them winning the tag team titles because, by the way, they're taping next 3 weeks of NXT on Tuesday, so they'll win. The tag team titles, and then a couple days later they'll lose it, but it won't be shown till January 5th, 6th, 18th, whatever. So I could see that happening, and then the New Day becomes the Usos are the world's greatest tag team lengthwise. But really, the New Day won the SmackDown, won the Raw, now wins the NXT, everything. I could see the New Day actually winning this. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I think it gives them something to do while the Usos are involved in other programming. So I think the New Day win this. It's similar to when Dolph Ziggler won the NXT title last year or earlier this year. So I got the New Day winning and holding it until probably after the Royal Rumble.
Before. I think they lose it maybe the first or second week of January. Now, Women's Iron Survivor Challenge match. Cora Jade going out with Braun Breaker. Indy Hartwell, I don't know. Well, let's. She's going out with Dexter. Kiana James, who cares? Roxanne Perez, Zoe Starks. All right. Now, this is going to be a mess, to be honest with you. It's going to be a mess. But who do you like in this one?
I don't know completely the rules of this yet. Like
All right, so
I think
I
it's
know
on the
you're gonna
fly.
I know you're going. So if you beat somebody, like pin them or whatever, you're going to the penalty box. But you could have a roughing penalty. You could have a disqualification. It's going to be 25 minutes long. That's all I know. It's going to be a mess. That's all I know. Who's your pick? Who cares who's your pick? What do they win? Like, what do they win a shot against Mandy Rose? Do they even have a shot against Mandy Rose? And by the way, we're going to talk about Mandy Rose, my first wife. All right, Giancarlo, if I asked you, Mandy Rose, at the start of 2022, she will be a champion. Forget NXT, forget WWE, a champion for basically almost a year. What would you say?
I would believe it.
You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. If you believe that, you might as well believe that I'm marrying Mandy Rose, which I'm not. I'm going to marry Patricia. All right. By the way, Giancarlo, stop asking me about who Patricia is. You'll meet her sooner or later. All right. So, look, who's your call in this one?
Yeah, if the winner gets a title match, I think it would make sense for Roxanne Perez to win, just so they have a face versus heel dynamic. So I guess I'll go with her to win the match.
All right, what I can't dispute that or whatever. What am I? Look at my choices. All right, men's Iron Survivor Championship match: Axiom, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, J.D. McDonough, Joe Gacy. Now, you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that Bray Wyatt, Joe Gacy, is in Bray Wyatt's faction. Carmelo Hayes is not. Axiom is not. Carmelo Hayes was the NXT North American champion. I think it's too early to push him into the main event spot. Axiom, you can't see his face. He's not going to. JD McDonough had a chance just recently, and he didn't. So by default, the winner, I'm predicting the winner of this match, and this guy is more over than Giancarlo and his Italian soccer takes. Grayson Waller. Giancarlo, what do you say?
I don't know if he. I don't even know what his plans have been the last couple of months. It seems like he's floundering. Like he had that thing with AJ Styles. They didn't really do anything after that. So maybe he wins and they put the title on him as a way to get Braun Breaker on the main roster. But I think this is just a big mess. This whole build up, the whole match, like penalty boxes, like 25 minutes. I don't know how it's going to play out, but yeah, I guess Grayson Waller, go with the heel.
What do you mean you guessed? Is it going to be Grayson Waller or not?
I think Carmelo Hayes, if they're really going to build someone up, but he's already over with the crowd. I think just go Grayson Waller to build more heel heat, I guess, and get him going. But I don't think Carmelo Hayes needs a win.
All right, Giancarlo, now it's time for the main event of NXT Deadline this Saturday, December 10th, 8 p.m. All right. Giancarlo, recently in June, I was bored and I took you upon my glorious boat. I'm the president of Provinces of Canada. And I showed you some fishing, okay? I showed you how to reel it in and all that, right? And I had to save your life. You went overboard there. You went because you wanted to catch the small fish, all right? So this is wrestling. On NXT this week, Apollo Crews, who's taking on the champion Braun Breaker, are going fishing. This is wrestling. How do you build heat between the main event stars of a premier live event? By fishing? Shawn Michaels, Triple H, you used to do a good job with NXT. You used to do a great job with NXT. NXT used to be the highlight of weekend pay-per-views with WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and all that. Now, because Triple H is writing Raw, SmackDown, he's concentrating too much on We the Ones. And now he left the real one, Shawn Michaels, to do something with Road Dogg by himself NXT. How in the blue what are you doing a main event with both guys fishing? Go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's like mind games from Apollo Crews. I have no clue. But I think he should win the title and like a lot breaker to move up because when Apollo Crews was on the main roster, they didn't really do anything with him. So I think he can use a title reign in NXT to build more of his character and then eventually go back to SmackDown or Raw with something fresh. But I think it's time for Braun Breaker to go Raw SmackDown. I think it's going to be a waste if you have him down another year, and I think he's developed already.
I agree with what you say, but I think Braun Breaker wins the bout. I where's Commander Aziz? All right, if you're going to push Apollo Cruz instead of going to breakfasts and all this, put him as a bad guy. Put him as a monster bad guy. But they brought back Dijakovic. Good move. Dijakovic could be in the main event there. Carmelo could be in the main event there, or Grayson Waller could be in the main event there. They got three challengers. That means if you put Apollo Cruz, honestly, who's going to challenge Apollo Cruz? Is it a heel or is it a face? Is he a heel or a face? I don't know. I don't know. And honestly, Dijak versus Apollo Cruz. Do I want to see that, or do I want to see Dijakovic against Braun Breaker? That's a match I want to see. Grayson Waller against Braun Breaker or Grayson Waller against Dijak. Come on. So I think Braun Breaker retains the title. Then we'll go on to feud with Dijak or Grayson Waller. That's what I'm saying here. And don't forget, the next premier live event from NXT is February 4th, Vengeance Day. And now the premier live events from NXT will be moving outside of the Performance Center in Orlando. Vengeance Day, February 4th, will happen from North Carolina. All right? North Carolina. So it looks like NXT is going to be more on the road there and everything like that. But we have to wait and see. And by the way, but I got to say this. All right? Lola Vice. Lola Vice. Are you excited to see Lola Vice, Giancarlo?
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have her debut earlier, but maybe at Deadline and now they'll show her on camera, and then after on NXT she'll make her debut. But based on everybody that signed during that same period, it is surprising that it's taken this long.
By the way, if people who don't know who Lola Vice is, me and Giancarlo were one of the. I think we're the only Canadian outlet to ever have an interview with her. Isn't that true? Only Canadian. It's Valerie Lolera. Valerie Lolera. Even though Lola Vice has a chance to be my sixth wife. All right, she's in contention. Giancarlo, do you agree, or should she be higher?
Contention for what?
Oh, my sixth wife. I just said this.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah, we'll say that. All right, that's Valerie, formerly of Bellator. Her new name is Lola Vice. Speaking about Bellator, we'll close it out here. Bellator has a big card tomorrow. Giancarlo's all over it for Fired Up and for Sportskeeda. By the way, since I have Giancarlo and since he is affiliated with Sportskeeda, I'm gonna let him talk about Sportskeeda. But go ahead, promote yourself and promote the card here for Bellator.
Yeah, it's their bantamweight Grand Prix semifinal. So Magomedov, and Patchy Mixer on one side of the bracket, and their interim bantamweight champion Rufion Stotts on the other against Danny Sabatello. So they actually been promoting this fight, which is good. They've actually done a better job with this fight. So both guys have been trash talking back and forth, makes it fun, interesting, and this card also has a rematch there, Liz Carmouche and Juliana Velasquez, which a lot of people thought the first one ended a little early, and now they get a rematch to prove that it didn't. So they actually did a good job in booking this card, I think.
All right, so that's actually tomorrow from Connecticut. There, Bellator 289. And is there any other match you want to talk about before we go to UFC?
Oh yeah, Dalton Ross does another one. He's a top 5 ranked middleweight there. I think he took a chance here, taking a fight against someone ranked 5 spots below him in the top 10, but he said he wanted to stay active. So I think it makes sense from his point of view. Allows him to pick his matchups after and call his shot there, but could also be a risk because you never know. As we saw with Austin Vanderford, he was one of the top 2 ranked guys, and then he loses to a newcomer there in Bellator and Aaron Jeffries. So this could be a big risser for Dalton Rasa.
All right. So again, Giancarlo will be all over that. That happens tomorrow. But UFC, as you mentioned, as you can see, UFC here has a big pay per view. UFC 282 at the T-Mobile Arena this Saturday. Oh, Saturday is a night, man. You got two shows of wrestling. You got hockey. You got the World Cup soccer, and then you got the UFC. Let's get to some boats here on the prelim. Let's see, Brown versus Silva. Who you got?
Yeah, this whole card unfortunately got the treatment there with injuries because so many guys got taken out, and they were in prominent roles here, and the UFC were forced to make a lot of changes. But whatever they have here, they did the best with what they have. I think Brown wins this, but it's going to be one of those fights that a lot of people are looking to see. Is there really something important next, or are they going to keep on battling out to get on the main card?
All right, so that's one of the prelim fights. Now let's get to some fights on the main card there. Let's talk about the three main fights. So let's go Till's match. What are you calling in that one?
Yeah, it would be nice to see Darren Till snap this losing skid and get back to his performances that made him contender at welterweight. He's taking on a tough middleweight and Duplessis because he's on a lot of momentum. He's been winning fights in impressive fashion. He's looking to make a name, add Darren Till to his resume, but I'll still go with Darren Till. I think he'll do enough here. I think it's going to be a decision win, and he gets back on track there in middleweight.
All right, and then let's get to um, the Gordon against his opponent in lightweight bout.
Yeah, Paddy the Batty has been. I think the
Yeah,
whole story around this.
let's talk about. I gotta hold on here. Hold on. I gotta defend my good Canadian boy, my Jewish good Canadian boy. You know, we're talking about Ariel Hawani. By the way, Ariel, since I'm defending you, you maybe want to come on the Fired Up Network. Hey, Giancarlo, that will make your career there. All right. So he comes on, and this guy interviews Dana White. Dana White, by the way, if you want to be over in Canada more, come on the number one network here, the Fired Up Network. All right. So he comes on and badmouths Ariel Hawani, saying, "Oh, this guy puts money in his pocket, clickbait, and all that." First of all, Giancarlo, what do you say about that? What do you say about
Oh
that?
yeah, this. I think that just overshadowed more of the event. Now it seems like the big matchup people are talking about is the back and forth going on between Patty and Ariel on social media and their shows. So I think Jared Gordon has an opportunity to be like an anti-hero, just come in and be a hero there if he were to knock out Patty. And I think Ariel Hawani would love to have him on right after that. I think that would be a fitting way there just to rub it in because they kind of did put him on blast there. It was unfair. Like Ariel Hawani was asked to have him on, and then all of a sudden he's asked for payment. So I get where Ariel Hawani's coming from, and then just to go on and bash him like that. So it was unfair to do that. I think him playing the message of Paddy Pimblett saying that he wanted to be on his show and set something up didn't really help Paddy's whole argument, but here we are, and he's got to win. I think just do something because this could be turning into Ariel Hawani just firing back, and he's not away from defending himself in the UFC.
Number one, from a guy who started his media career in 1992. Yes, 30 years ago. Giancarlo, I look good, for 30 years in this business, man. Like no white hair and everything like that. All right, for a guy 30 years in the business, and when I started out, there was only Jeff Merrick and myself doing wrestling, MMA, and all that, live audio wrestling, the law. I'll give them a shout out. All right. Ariel Hawani has come and worked his tuchus off. All right, he's worked his tuchus off, and yes, Dana White does not like him, and I'm sure some people like you, some people hate you. All right, but Ariel Hawani is the prime example why MMA is where it's at. If it wasn't for a guy like Ariel Hawani, and here I'll give it to him also from TSN, Orville. I know him as Orville. Aaron Bronstetter. Don't laugh, Giancarlo. His name is Orville, all right? Aaron Bronstetter. If it wasn't for those two guys, MMA market in Canada, and Joe Ferraro. Let's go. We'll show down Joe Ferraro. These guys started off MMA here in Canada, and now MMA all over the world is huge. It's huge. But Ariel Helwani, day and night, he's here to break stories. Dana White does not like him breaking stories because, you know what? As a journalist, yes, like Bobby Heenan says, a broadcast journalist, right? He works hard. He has sources who give him information. Dana White does not like the sources giving somebody that he does not like information. Kudos to Ariel Helwani. Keep doing what you're doing. You're getting noticed, and we rely. Everybody in this industry, be it media types, be it fighters, be it fans, rely. And I'm gonna say this right now. He's the source. He's one of the sources in MMA. Do you agree with that, John Carlo?
Yeah, I think he's what Bob McKenzie is to the NHL, what Woj is to NBA. So those are fair
Come
comparisons.
on, no, but
No.
all right. But honestly, with Ariel Helwani, the guy's from Montreal. He's a good Canadian boy. Don, shout out to him. But even though he likes Montreal, Sami Zayn, and now he's breaking into the wrestling realm. He's having big time interviews with his outlet. I believe it's Sky Sports or something like that. So for this guy, and who, like, no offense, okay, I could understand if Conor McGregor goes after Ariel Helwani. But is this guy trying to make a name to go after Ariel Helwani? Because out of Ariel Helwani, out of everybody in MMA media, he's the standard bearer. He's the Ric Flair. Woo! He's everybody in MMA. Who is this guy to make a name off Ariel Helwani? Go ahead, John Carlo.
Oh yeah, but Paddy Pimblett it might be his first UFC pay-per-view, but he's based on everything. He's one of the most popular guys. This obviously won't help his popularity, but he's among probably the most popular fighters going into this, and I think this is going to leave a sour taste in a lot of fans. It might cause him to lose some fans just the way he kind of conducted himself there, but he has his own reasons, I guess. Can't fault him for that, but it is kind of ironic when he's talking about fighter pay and guys deserving more, and he's sitting like 5 feet away from Dana White, who doesn't really pay everybody. They can make that assumption of what they're worth. So I found that ironic, but he is going to be among the biggest stars in the UFC.
All right. Yeah, that's what you say. And I have nothing against him, but I don't believe so. And if you go, there's something here. If you go against the grain and attack somebody who's doesn't shouldn't be attacked, it's karma. It's karma. And by the way, Ariel, ayin hara. Nobody knows what that means. Keep your eye open. Keep your ears open. Keep doing what you do. John Carlo loves you. I will love you too if you come on the Fired Up Network, and then we could shoot the crap about MMA, about wrestling, about the Montreal Canadiens, Cole Caulfield, and the number one pick. Shane Wright is gone to Team Canada. They shouldn't select Shane Wright. John Carlo doesn't even know what I'm talking about. John Carlo wants Montreal to pick up Phil Kessel. That's what he wants. All right. So that is we got to touch on the main event before we close it out. Touch on the main event of UFC 282. Go ahead.
Yeah, this whole main event is unfortunate in a way because Yuri Prohaska, who was a champion, gets a bad shoulder injury. He's going to be out for probably over a year. So they have to vacate the title. And now Yan and Magomed Ankalaev move into the main event for the vacant title. Glover Teixeira is an odd one out. And I think Magomed Ankalaev wins this fight. I know Yan is a tough competitor, but I just think Magomed's grappling will be too much, and I think he submits Yan, and then Glover Teixeira is next. So I think that's a fight to make. I know Teixeira lost it on this one, but I think they gave him at least some promise that he'll be next in line for a title shot just because he was reasonable in this situation.
and your latest Conor McGregor update. You know what it is? He has to wait 6 months. The testing pool and all that. By the way, just last week, Tyson Fury won his bout. He cut a promo on Usyk, who was at ring. He's learning stuff from the WWE. Put it that way. He's learning stuff from the WWE. He wants Usyk. He wants everybody else. But congratulations to Tyson Fury, who successfully defended his title. All right, Giancarlo, as we close it out, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And don't forget, Giancarlo, you may be on the World Cup update tomorrow after the quarterfinal games. Brazil is in there, and of course, Argentina versus the Netherlands. Giancarlo Carmen was on the show before. They may be on the show tomorrow. He's on the show right now telling you how to get a hold of him.
Yeah. On Twitter, John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Alino. Check out my articles on FireDupNetwork.ca and Sportskeeda.com. And if you're in Toronto, check me out on Vibe 105. We got some interviews there coming up in the next couple of weeks. One might be a familiar name, we'll say. So tune into that.
Wait a minute. One might be a familiar name. Familiar name to who?
That's what it's a surprise. That's all. You'll know it's a familiar name.
You're telling me it's Ariel Hawani?
No, not Ariel Hawani.
Ariel, listen. I know it's the holiday season. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy Hanukkah to Ariel. And if you want to, get me some geld, come on the Fired Up Network. All right. For Giancarlo Lino, you've been watching the On the Mat Wrestling pay-per-view of Final Battle, Ring of Honor Final Battle this Saturday, December 10th, 4 p.m. Pay-per-view preview or Premier Live event preview of NXT Deadline and previews of Bellator 289 and UFC 282. More great programming coming up right now. Thanks a lot, Giancarlo. Well, that was thanks to Giancarlo Lino with the wrestling show / on the mat wrestling show / the Bellator and UFC pay per view previews. We're going to be joined. I came to Scotiabank Arena, by the way. We're going to be joined by the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts. By the way, the last two Maple Leaf games, Maple Leafs tonight, shut out the LA Kings. The last two Maple Leaf games, they won 4-0 in Dallas and 5-0, or like Marty Roberts wants me to say, 5-0. 5-0. So that means 4 plus 5. If Marty Roberts passes grade 2 and Patricia was his first teacher, it's 9-0 in the last two games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. By the way, the Maple Leafs outshot the Kings 41-29. Marty Roberts is on now. We're going to be joined by Toronto 6 superstar. Yes, not a player, superstar. Taylor Wood should be on here in a couple minutes here. But Marty, nice seeing you. Let's talk Maple Leafs, or should we talk your team, the Pittsburgh Penguinos? But there's nobody hotter than Mitch Marner. A goal, and I think he had an assist. 21 straight games. I mentioned 21 for Borja Salming. We can't forget Borja Salming. Marty, how you doing?
Not bad. You, Joseph?
I'm doing great. We're joined by Taylor Woods also. Taylor, how you doing? Marty Roberts, so excited to see you.
Hey, we yeah, it's been a long time no see, right? Our last home game was like November sometime. So
it was just around the time that they fired me as Kipling.
All right, so hold on here. Marty Roberts has chimed in here. He texted me this before we came on the show. Joe, can you do me a favor since you're the president of the provinces of Canada? Taylor owed me a Toronto 6 jersey. He does not have it yet. Taylor, can you explain why Marty Roberts, you're hogging, like, look, producers, zoom it in here. Let's show your hat here. Okay, no. Producer's going to zoom it in here. All right, let's see, it's a Toronto 6 hat. Well, Marty Roberts doesn't even have a hat, doesn't even have a jersey. What are you wearing, Marty Roberts? What is this, a plumber jersey or what's this? All right, Taylor, where is Marty Roberts' jersey? He wants to know, should we talk to the media representative of Justin Levine? I hear rumors from Justin Levine in the Fired Up Network group. He's leaving hockey and doing baseball. He's breaking baseball trades and everything like that. Okay,
Wow.
Taylor, I'm going to go to you. Where's Marty Roberts' jersey?
2
I'll
words.
tell you where it is. It doesn't matter about his
Supply,
jersey. It matters about
demand.
my jersey. Where's my jersey?
Supply demand. It's a hot commodity, right? They're just flying off the shelves, or just like the one table that we have. But I'll be sure to bring a big bag, like a Santa sack sort of thing, and fill it with all the T6 goodies.
No, hold on. Wait, just to say this, it's been a hot commodity, but the number one jersey, Toronto 6 jersey, being sold out is number 2 for Woods. Isn't that right, Taylor?
I don't think I could answer that after laughing, like honestly after that. So not too sure. I don't think it is, but you know what? There's always a hope, and I get some money after that. So any jersey sale, it's some money in my pocket.
I don't want one from the store. I want one that is off your back after a game. We don't have to worry about the supply and demand thing. You just give me the one that you wore after the game.
We only have 2, so I don't. Well, we only have one red and then one black. So not too sure.
Red and black, black and blue, whatever you want. Just give him a shirt so I don't have to worry. Joe, my jersey hasn't come. He's checking the post office every day, man. He's worse than a TTC driver. They don't even stop you at the stop, man. Come on. He needs a jersey. Taylor, who do I have to talk about to get this guy a jersey?
I really should know that, but I don't.
All right, we'll talk about the Toronto Six in a couple of minutes, but let's Taylor, you watched the game tonight. The Maple Leafs again, Matthews, Marner, Mitch Marner, especially 21 straight games, and with a point, great 4-0 beating Dallas on Tuesday, 5-0 tonight. They play Calgary on Saturday. I'm going to say this, Marty. I'm going to say it. It will not be 6-0 for the Maple Leafs. I'm going on the line here and say it's not going to be 6-0. But Taylor, going back to you, what did you think of the game tonight?
You know what? Like, all that one word is just steady. You know what? They were just steady the whole night. Like, after, when it was like even 3-0, it's like, okay, like game's sort of done, it's packed in. It's sort of, you could tell like how people were skating on the ice. And then Marner, of course, you know what? That was a beauty. Like, coming off, getting that one-timer off the boards. He really deserved that, and you know, it keeps his streak going. And then they just hung it in solid, and if they keep playing with that and keep playing with that confidence, that easy confidence, it's just sort of building blocks right now. They could build a foundation with their communication. They could build a foundation like through their bottom six, their defense that they're running through. Now, what they could go defense forwards versus like in practice and everything, versus how much defense depth they have. And I'm going to use that I shouldn't emphasize it thickly, but they have players with now more experience at that level with that team, and that's scary. So we'll see. They're doing good things right now, and hopefully they just keep it going.
Marty, your thoughts on this game?
I didn't get to watch the full thing. You know, some of us do work. You know, it's a little tough to get home to watch these things. But, you know, over the last few years, they've always been solid during the regular season anyway. So there's no concern with the regular season. It's once they get to playoff time, what happens. So they're doing what they're supposed to do now. I think the good thing is they have 2 goalies they can put in at any time. That's the thing right there. They can put in Murray or Samsonov and roll with whatever one they have. Just keep them healthy is a big thing, but their goaltending is so much better than it was last year. I know so many people are upset that the Leafs got rid of Campbell, didn't re-sign him. And look what he's doing in Edmonton, and look what the Leafs are doing with their 2 goalies. So, you know, they're playing really well right now.
Furthermore,
like Taylor said, they're doing lots of things. Marner on this big point string, 21 games. Matthews off to a slow start, but now he's starting to pick it up. So, you know, we'll see how the season goes along here.
Further to that, Maple Leafs, not only they have 2 goalies, they got 22 defensemen who could play. And Marty Roberts, we got to give it to him. Marty Roberts has been on this Justin Hall for for Norris Trophy winner from like last year. Justin Hall never makes a mistake now. Justin Hall's their number one. Morgan Riley's gone. Justin Hall, go ahead, Marty. They got like, I know Brody came back and everything, but come on, this the defense. Even the dog like it out of the doghouse. Justin Hall's out of the doghouse there, but go ahead, talk about the defense now.
I gotta let the dogs start barking because they heard you say Hall and they went nuts.
Watch.
They don't like Hall as much as I don't like Hall, but he has been playing. Since Riley's been out, he stepped up his game. Brody. I think today was Brody's first game back in like 13 or 14 games.
Yeah,
and I think they were like 9-0-3 with him out, and he comes back and they continue. So, their defense has been a lot better as a whole. Forwards and defense has been a lot better than what it has been in the past. So we'll see if it keeps going. Liljegren and Sandin had a struggle there for a little stretch. They're starting to figure it out again. So right now it's looking good for the Maple Leafs.
And another thing, I'm going to go with Taylor's a great defense. Do I say defenseman or defensewoman? Doesn't matter. I just defense. All right, defense. All right. When you look at the hockey game differently than Marty. Of course, me and you like eyes connected here with everything in hockey. Do you look at it just as a defensive style? How they take the man, how they forecheck, how they get rid of the puck? Now, do you see something different from, let's say, 2 months ago to today?
A little bit. I was gonna just say, like, right now, like, it was a good defense, and like for this guys is like for the Leafs right now is a good defense is a good offense, leading from defense, right? So when they play really good offense, it's easier to sort of stay like a little bit more solid offensively defensive, and then it's just easier to transition into defense because everyone just wants to get that puck back. So yeah, it starts off with having that such great offense, and then just having that maybe secondary support, talking about that offensive side, because then you're just outnumbering right there. So yeah, sort of just making minds twisted a little bit, but yeah, I just think that they're just sort of figuring out that support role for that player, for the puck carrier for sure.
Right.
I know, Joe, when we spoke a couple weeks ago about Leafs forever, Leafs were giving away the puck an awfully lot. And tonight they only had, I think it was 10 giveaways. So they've cleaned that up somewhere the last few games. As long as they can clean that up, it makes life a lot easier for the goalie, for the defenseman, and the team in general. So as long as they keep the giveaways down and they don't turn it over in bad spots, which they were doing, they're going to be all right in the regular season. Well, again, as we go along here, the playoffs come in. It'll be a different situation, but right now they're doing what they're supposed to do.
And if everything's going well, if Zach Aston Reese causes a fight and starts a fight, I don't know if Pittsburgh he ever fought anybody, but today he won the fight. Put it that way, all right? He won the fight. Let's put it that way. All right. So now I'm going to go to Taylor here. Shane Wright scoring his first goal a couple of days ago against the Montreal Canadiens. Remember, a draft night, he was looking at the Montreal Canadiens table. Actually, I talked to Shane. He was actually looking at Justin Levine, who had a Maple Leaf jersey on, and he was like, oh, what's this? Anyway, now Shane Wright is now probably going to be, he scored a goal, but he's going to be called to Team Canada. Again, remember, the World Juniors, even though they played in August, they're playing now in Boxing Day. It starts again. What do you see from Shane Wright? Of course, arguably should have been the number one pick, got picked number 4. Had a slow start, didn't play. Now he scored a goal. Now he's going to be dependent on, once again, in Team Canada.
Yeah, it's twofold. And as soon as you said Shane Wright, I was like, I'm thinking like, okay, like go to the Kraken and sort of their development style, and I think that's gonna time to tell. And right now, if you told me today, I think it may be the right move in the long term. But with his AHL stint and then coming in, getting that confidence, right, and then having the edge to sort of say, hey, I got to prove myself. Hey, I've been in this NHL situation, and also just getting. Of course, he's gonna think that he didn't get choose first overall. So it's like, hey, I got something to prove. I'm going to show my leadership, and I think he's going to do really well with Team Canada over the World Juniors.
All right, and since we got Taylor on here, I love saying this name, Marie-Philippe Poulin. Try to say that 10 times, Marty. Like I said it, okay? The French, the president of provinces, Marie-Philippe Poulin. She won the award. Taylor, talk about, she is like the Wayne Gretzky, Captain Clutch there for the ladies hockey. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly what that honor was, because she's gotten a couple awards, right? She was in the BU Hall of Fame. She got a Northern Canadian Athlete of the Year award, something like that. But you know what? Like everything in terms of athletics, in terms of hockey, she deserves. She's worked hard. She's built the community. She's helped out girls, women from all over. She's even helped out men, right? Looked at her resume and her caliber. So congrats to her. And she's still going to keep growing and just move this sport beyond what we could think of.
George Williams asks right here, is Taylor watching the World Cup of Soccer? We all know Marty is, but does Taylor watch the World Cup of Soccer?
A little bit. I had a chance to watch Brazil beat up on Korea there, the 4-1. But there was a group of big Brazilian fans sort of sitting in shoeless shows, and we just knew when Brazil scored because they're just going off and just cheering like, yep. Okay, just watching it, but they gave the first alarm that they scored. But yeah, I've been watching a couple games, a couple highlights here and there, but not fully intense. Like I know there's people out there that do. So
yeah, Marty Roberts, one of them. All right. So Marty, I'm gonna go to Toronto 6 right now. Marty, has Toronto 6 been in contact with you since they fired you as Kipling? All right,
I've not heard a word. I have not heard a word.
Marty, sit back here. Taylor. Okay, Taylor Woods, Toronto 6 defense.
I'm gonna eat my M&Ms while you guys talk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, keep the M&Ms. All right. So Taylor, I gotta ask you. He already told you that he wants his jersey. Can you get him the job back as Kipling? He put on looking at him. He put on a couple.
I'll get a haircut so my head will fit inside.
It might have to be the eyelashes. Have you seen Kipling's eyelashes?
Hold on,
my eyelashes are nice.
Producers, zoom in on Marty's eyelash. Here, Marty, put your eyelash in the cut.
See, I got them.
All right, go ahead, Taylor. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one, it would probably be the eyelash thing if I had to say, because he was very cheery or she was very cheery throughout the whole game too, and
hold on.
Big fans.
Wait. Was Kipling a man or a lady? Because I see Marty's a man here. Are you saying he or he?
Here's Marty's talk time to sort of bring the speech, but I do have some unseen photos of me and Kipling on the bench taking some selfies.
Oh.
So you guys could talk. I will find them.
All
and
right.
then I will show them to.
Do you want me to send them to you so you find them easier, Taylor? Because I got them on my phone too. Because you sent it to me earlier.
Yeah, a photographer from Toronto 6 that I know very well, Patricia, was really taking shots, good shots of Marty as Kipling and everything like that. So shout out to Patricia there. Okay, so Marty, let's close out Maple Leafs Forever while she looks at the pictures of yourself here. Maple Leafs playing Calgary Saturday. They had a bad October. November was their best month of the year so far. Okay. Even though there's 2 months only. But December, how do you think December is going to go? It's not bad already for them.
For Calgary or for the Leafs?
Leafs. Who the hell cares about Calgary?
Well, you brought up Calgary. I'm like, why are you bringing up Calgary?
No, because they play Calgary. But for that matter, Taylor, sorry. Marty Roberts just texted me also. Nobody cares about Winnipeg also, he said.
That hurts because they had some awesome jerseys. Their jerseys are just popping. Mind you, their team, you know what? I should just say that they suck the whole time, so they just do well. I think that's just
Taylor, we haven't talked to you. Do you know who won the Grey Cup, Taylor?
Actually, I really should know.
Just know Toronto.
Hold on, Marty. Toronto beat Winnipeg. Winnipeg Blue Bombers were the best team for the last 6 years.
Haven't they won it a couple times though, Winnipeg?
Yeah, they were back-to-back champions, but it doesn't matter. When you're 15-3 and you play the
before this, when did Toronto win it?
This year.
Doesn't matter.
No, but
Doesn't
like
matter.
before that.
They won it this year. That's all that matters. They won it this year.
This year, they are the current
Said the Leafs,
champion.
what, like 45 years ago?
No,
Yep.
this year, for maybe 25 days, 24, 23, the Argos victorious over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And also, a good friend, Carrie, says Winnipeg has been overrated for the last 3 years.
Wow.
Marty, okay, you know, our good friend Carrie said Winnipeg has been overrated. All right. So Taylor, you like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They were back-to-back champions, but they lost the Grey Cup to the Argos. Your thoughts?
Well, they were back-to-back champions, so they do know how to win. But I'm also just thinking about my season, as Boston was unfortunately back-to-back champions, and we were there, so we're gonna win it this year. That's where my mind goes. But yeah, no, they do have the talent and everything, and they're gonna just figure out what they're gonna do in the off season, right? Bring in some small pieces. Hopefully, their quarterback's gonna stay for a couple more seasons. But yeah, no, their fan base is good, their stadium's good, they have that foundation. They just need to just keep going with that champion mindset.
And Marty, by the way, she said we're going to win it. That means the Toronto Six are going to win. Going to bring me back.
Well, she included me in that because I was Kipling
We're
once, right?
Kipling.
So it's we.
And you know when we win
I'm
it.
still part of the we. There, look, see.
Oh, hold on.
This is Lori. I should give some photo credit for Lori Bulgering. I'm sorry if I did not say that right, but see, there's Kipling drinking his water, and I didn't need water, so I thought he needed some
Now
water.
I know why my hair was wet.
Yeah. So
thanks for that. Now I know.
All right. So hold on here. So she says we're going to win it. She's talking about the Toronto Six. We are members of the Toronto Six family. Me, Marty. Also, Marty, when we win it, okay, you're gonna kick out the bubbly here and bring the wine that you owe me 2 bottles. Me and Patricia, the wine from the Toronto Six, the red wine. Do you like Taylor? Do you like red wine?
I don't. You guys could, you have my glass.
No, hold on. If when you win the championship, do you have beer, wine, water? What do you have? Come on.
I'm a Grey Goose girl, so.
Grey Goose. All right.
Yeah.
So that, and not to be opposed by like the Canadian Goose, that also Toronto Six has the Canadian Goose that that Marty Roberts would like a jersey and a jacket and everything like that. But I digress. Toronto Six in action again this weekend at Canlan Ice Sports. Tell me about it. How's the team doing? How's the team doing also, and how you doing regarding your defensive duties?
Yeah, we've played these guys already, so this is sort of our last meet with them at this early of the season. But we split last series, so hopefully we could sweep on our home ice. It's a little bit bigger, and yeah, just sort of thinking mentality is just going to be physical, but we have more space, so just move your feet first, and let's see if I could create some nice stick handles, some good goals, and some nice passing. So that's just my mindset going in. It's just a little bit more skilled but ready to throw a couple of bodies in there.
All right. By the way, you played the Metropolitan Riveters. Marty, wake up! This is because I need you to sing here. Metropolitan Riveters, GM president.
Say that 3 times.
All right, I won't. But Metropolitan Riveters, GM president and everything like that is Digit Murphy. Yesterday, Digit Murphy celebrated her birthday. All right. So Marty Roberts, she has just texted me. She said she's watched shows that Marty Roberts has kicked out the jams. If you want the job as Kipling again, she says you have to sing. So yesterday was Digit Murphy's birthday. Today, by the way, a good friend of the Fired Up Network, former Maple Leaf, Nathan Parrott's birthday. So Marty, you sing for Digit. I'll sing for Nathan, and we'll sing a duet, all three, or triet, or whatever, with Taylor. But you kick it off for Digit Murphy, whose birthday was yesterday. Here's Marty Roberts. Did we
Done.
lose Marty Roberts?
Done. I said it. I sang it inside voice I used.
That reminded me of the Pitch Perfect girl, where it's just like you have to zoom up, and the lips were just like so small.
All right, Marty, you're telling me you don't want to do a duet with the president of the provinces of Canada? If our Digit Murphy, who went on the show here and credited you and said Marty Roberts is a great kicking out the jams and all that, come on, give me one line. Happy birthday to Digit. Come on,
Digit. Happy 35th birthday. There you go.
That's not even singing, Marty. Taylor.
I don't sing. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't sing.
According to your wife, who told me
She'll say I
you
don't sing
bathe
either.
in the shower, you bathe in the shower, you do everything in the shower here. Okay, so come on, Taylor. Since she was your president, the Toronto Six president, I give the ball to you because I'm gonna kick both your asses because you guys can't sing and I can. So go ahead, Taylor.
Well, no, I would just like to wish Digit a happy birthday. You know what? We had some connections going through, right? Just meet up in China. We're Cornell alum, just throwing that out there. She's been in the hockey community and a lot. She's done a lot of good things. And yeah, I wish her all the best and really happy birthday. You know what? You can celebrate all weekend, and coming down to Toronto, just say hi.
Taylor, I want to know what your only 2 minutes penalties were. What was it? A hook, a hold, a slash?
Oh my God. No, this is the worst. This is the worst. Okay. So it was against Boston, and like I'm going into the weekend and I'm like, okay, I hate these guys. And I just want to I want to get the troops riled up. So I'm going to throw a hit, and I don't care if I get a penalty. I'm going to throw a hit. And the ice was okay. Like it should have been a little bit better, but like after 10 minutes, it was just snowy and the puck was bouncing like a basketball. So I'm at the point and like they sort of chip it a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. Baseball stop coming through and it goes between my legs. I'm like, oh shit. So then I turn around and like they had their fastest person coming in, and like I go and I was like, okay, like I sort of throw like a somewhat of a hit, a measly like hip check, and they called me for a hook. I'm like, if I'm gonna hook someone, if I'm gonna take a penalty, I want to just nicely. I didn't want to hurt her. She's a good player, so I'm like, okay, like respect. But I would have thrown a little bit bigger hit if I knew that was my time. So I was like, oh,
so you better get another 2 minutes before, so you can have four, and this one could be hitting.
What Taylor's trying to say, in other words, what Taylor's trying to say, the referees was like soccer referees, all right? So that's what she's trying to say here. But listen, Taylor, throw it to me. You want to hear a great rendition of Happy Birthday? Throw it to me. Come on.
Yeah, go for it. Let's hear it.
All right, Marty, throw it to me. She didn't throw. Go for it. Let's hear it. Come on. Introduce the president of the
you.
All right. So for Digit Murphy, happy birthday to you. For Nathan Parrott, Feliz Navidad. No, what is that? No, that's Merry Christmas. Sorry.
That's Merry Christmas.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Throw it out. That's it, Joseph. You ruined it.
Yeah, Nathan Parrott, I'm scared of him. He could break my jaw and everything like that. All right. So there you go. But this weekend, back-to-back games against the Metropolitan Riveters. Say it 10 times. All right. You're good. Taylor, you don't know this, okay? You're gonna beat Digit Murphy. And then she's gonna be pissed because Marty Roberts didn't sing. Then she's gonna blame it on Kipling, everything like that. But how's the team doing? Are you in first place yet? Do you get my ring red? Should I get it like sized and everything?
We're in second. I think it's just new team coming in, just not like new team in the season, but like we just have a different team and different coaching. So it's just getting used to each other, and it's okay if we make mistakes at the first half. We're just getting to know each other. It matters like the last game. So yeah, we're looking good. We're looking sharp. We're talented, and we're just going to go out there and show our stuff. So we're going to see some really, really nice moves, really, really nice plays. And yeah, hopefully we just butter the back of the net. I'm not sure if Bert's coming, if Kate Bert's going to be in net. We'll see. It's just going to give us a little bit more motivation just to throw pucks towards her. But that's their new signing, and we're just going to keep scoring goals.
Just a side note, I'm going to ask you, you played in Metropolitan in that shopping mall. Did you play in that shopping mall, or
Yeah. Yeah.
how was to play in a shopping mall?
It was a different experience. It sort of felt like, just because how it was stacked, is like people were on top of you, so it made like a cool experience. The ice wasn't bad. It wasn't like warm out there, so they had some snowflakes all over the place, so it was sort of like the sparkle. And my teammates, well, some of them, not all of them, but they went shopping afterwards after every game, so it's just like, oh,
What did
well,
they buy
it's
you?
there.
What
They
did they
bought me
buy
nothing.
you?
They bought me nothing.
Well, they did buy me something. They told me to tell you to get a jersey from Marty Roberts. That's what they
That's
said.
why they didn't buy her anything, because she hasn't got me anything yet.
See, there you go. All right, that's the Toronto Six at the Canlan Ice Sports in North York against the Metropolitan Riveters this Saturday, December 10th, 2 p.m. I believe, right? 2 p.m. And then Sunday, December 11th, also I believe at 2 p.m. And then you play against on Friday. You play against Buffalo, I think.
Yep, Buffalo outdoor game. So a little redemption from last year compared to February. It's now December, so hopefully the ice again is decent. And we have some nice 7 p.m. on a Friday night weather. So I know CJ is going to want to get back at that. We played Bucky, so a little bit of a rivalry, a little bit of friendship. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, Marty, in case you don't know, Bucky is former Fired Up Network colleague,
I
Michaela
remember.
Grant Mentes, right?
I
And by the
remember
way,
her. I did a couple shows with her.
yes, and he's never been the same. All right. And by the way, Taylor, you want to give her a couple shots for Marty. Give her a couple shots for Marty there and all that. There's a big time ride. By the way, I know. You may stay over in Buffalo, but Saturday and the next Saturday, the Buffalo Bills play the Miami Dolphins on a Saturday night. It's squish the fish time. Come on, you got to stay over to Buffalo there. All right.
We
So
could.
we could. You're going to. You're relying on Marty Roberts to pay for the tickets. Come on. All right. So, anything else in the hockey world that you want to touch on, Taylor?
No, there's just a ton of hockey, and we'll see how the NHL landscape's going to be. Let's see how the Jets go, because the Jets are doing actually pretty good. Yeah, and I think it's World Juniors are going to be fun. So there's going to be a lot of just different stuff with hockey going on, and I think it's just going to be just fun to watch.
And well, it's not PHF, but I hear the ladies are going to be part of the All-Star game and Hockey Day in Canada. I think it's January 21st, something like that. That's what I heard. I don't know if you heard the same thing.
I got to make sure dates, because I know there's PHF dates in there. I know this weekend the PWHPA is in Ottawa doing their thing, and they're going to have a Hockey Night in Canada thing December 9th and 10th. So that's tomorrow and the next day.
Yeah.
And maybe on the 11th. They're doing something on the 11th. Not sure if it's aired. But yeah, that may or may not be around our All-Star weekend.
All right. So the next, I got a question here from Marty's good friend Eric. I don't know. He doesn't put a last name there, but it says it's Marty's friend Eric. Wants to know, when are you appearing again on Maple Leafs Forever? Is it this Saturday? Because he says Marty Roberts owes him a bottle of wine, owes you a bottle of wine, and owes Patricia a bottle of red wine. So it's different. Okay. So go ahead. When are you appearing again on Maple Leafs Forever? Marty, stop texting me. Look, he looks down and all that. He texts me again. Come on. All right. So when are you appearing on Maple Leafs Forever again?
Whenever you guys want me back. So if it's, what is it, Saturday? When do they play Saturday?
Here, Marty, I'll do something for you. All right. We want you back when you have the jersey.
Well, that's at least like 6 week shipping. So
I told you, game Warren. Game Warren. I want to see you after the game just with your shoulder pads and your elbow pads skating. Or that's it. I want that jersey off.
All right.
And handed.
So Saturday, if we do a show Saturday, Taylor, I'll ask you to take a picture after the game with your jersey. If we have to come down, Marty Roberts will come down on Saturday or Sunday, and you'll present him the jersey that Kipling wears.
Wait. Oh. does I gotta look. Does Kipling wear a jersey? Did we get him a jersey?
He
Okay.
doesn't. Kipling is like Coca-Cola, the polar bear. Come
Yeah.
on. All right. So Marty Roberts will accept a Coke too, right? So it doesn't matter.
Coke and a smile. Coke and
Yeah,
a smile.
Coke and a smile. All right. Taylor, do you want to stay on for a little baseball talk, or we'll see you hopefully on Saturday?
All that I know is the Padres are making big news right now. They had some good trades. That's all I know. So I should. That's my 2 cents. So you
All
guys can
right.
go chat away.
By the way, don't forget to check out the Toronto Six again this weekend, Saturday, December 10th, Sunday, December 11th at the Canline Ice Sports in North York against the Metropolitan Riveters. Happy birthday once again to Digit Murphy. Happy birthday to Nathan Parrott. I sang, these guys didn't. You owe me $10, Digit. All right, Taylor, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
I'm on Twitter at Taystorm. We'll Twitter drama, but and then Instagram T Woods Training.
And one more question: have you moved the car in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or
I
carried?
have.
Really?
It zoomed. It went fast, and then it sort of hit, and yeah, I just didn't have enough gas. I guess I did finish. I got second or third in that event. Yeah, but it
How much?
raced
How
off the
much
start.
was that? How much? How much was it to pull? Like 1,000 pounds? What?
It was 590 on my back.
590 on your back, Marty. Can you do 59 on your back? Let alone 590.
Nope. Nothing on my back. Hey, I'll just so you know, this weekend I'm going to go watch Toronto 6 play. I'm going to have a sign that says, "Where's my jersey?" That's all I'm going to put it up against the glass. Where's my jersey?
And then just point the whole time.
Yep, the whole point. Just when you're on, I'm just pointing at you. No one else, just you. Wherever you go, that's where it is. I might get a seat beside the bench.
You hear this, Justin Levine? Get security to throw out this guy, Marty Roberts, the grizzled young veteran from Canland Ice Sports. All right, Taylor, hopefully we'll see you if we do one on Saturday. You're more than welcome anytime here. That's Taylor Woods, Toronto Six, all-star defenseman. Thanks a lot, Taylor.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Take care. All right, so we're going to switch from Maple Leafs. Is there anything else you want to add, first of all, Marty?
No, we hadn't talked in a while, but he had the Letang situation where he had the stroke. That's his second stroke, I think, in 6 years. So that's a little concerning. Now, I know that there is issues with these guys traveling a lot, and airplane rides cause blood clots, and I don't know if that was the situation, but that's pretty scary to have two of them. And he didn't, there was no. He had no effects. He didn't show any effects from the stroke. He just went in and said, "I know my body and I don't feel right." And they checked him out and he ended up having a stroke, which is it's absolutely scary that these guys are out there, going full tilt and to have a stroke at that age twice at an athlete of his caliber, that's pretty scary that, any of us, it can happen to, and we're nowhere near the athletes or in shape like those guys are. So it was pretty scary about that with Letang. It was a shock when I read it, and I forgot that he'd had one in 2014, I think it was. So they're going to have to monitor him, and we'll see if he's back. I know he's out, I think, doing some light skating, but we'll see if he's back in game shape in the next month or two.
All right, as you can see, good job by the producers. Now we're going to do Around the Majors with Marty Roberts here for about 10 minutes because the Blue Jays have done, you know how much the Blue Jays have done? They have done more than you were when you were playing Kipling for the Toronto Six, okay? Yeah. Are you, we're big Blue Jay fans there also, okay? Are you sort of mind-boggled, upset? Like, they lost, by the way, they lost on another what everybody wanted. Their center fielder. They lost the Mets signed him. What was it now for 9 years or 6 years? How? Yeah,
for Nemo, it was 8 years, 162.
8 years, 162. So there's
just over $20 million
dollars
a season, right? And that was the guy that everyone thought. Up till now, I was not concerned about. I know a lot of people were. Oh, they haven't signed him, but all the guys that signed previously, they weren't really big in. Yes, they checked in on the Verlanders and stuff like that, which they had to. And then once Verlander, was going for the money, there's no chance that the Jays did that. But Nemo is a guy that they were, I think, targeting, and they were hoping to get, but I don't know. There's still some players out there that are the Jays will be looking at. I know that a Conforto will be one. Brantley, there's 2 left-handed hitters as well. Don't be surprised if Gallo is talked to. Benintendi, there's 4 left-handed hitters there that might help out in the lineup there with the Jays. I don't know. There's some guys that have signed for an awfully lot of money. Let's just say like $40 million a year for Aaron Judge over the next 9 years. That's an awfully lot of money to put in for a guy who just had his career year. So, really, it's not gonna. He's gonna decline now if this is his career. If the record-breaking home runs and the RBIs he had this year, he starts going backwards now. Is it worth the $40 million?
He signed 9 years, $360 million with the Yankees. But even more, it just happened yesterday or just today. Bogarts to San Diego. Taylor mentioned San Diego making moves, but 11 years. 11 years. And Turner, what did he sign with Philly? I think 11
He signed
years
for $300 million, 11 years too. Like, he was offered more from San Diego.
Yeah.
I think somewhere like $40 million more.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go back home to the East Coast, and that's where he's from, around that area. So he went back to that area and signed with the Phillies for that $300 million.
He's from New Jersey. Is
11 years. So he's getting $27 million. And I'm going to guess that like Trey Turner's a guy that probably could have got above $30 million a year.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm guessing there's some people that were upset with him in the union, some players that he took a discount to go play on the East Coast. Like, we're saying $300 million a discount, but he could have got awfully more. And now Bogarts took that money that San Diego's offering. Yes, it was less, $280 million. I don't know. Is Bogarts worth that kind of money? I don't know if he is. He's a good shortstop. Yes, he is.
But anybody, we're talking. We talked about A-Rod. What did he sign 10 years ago? 10 years, $250 million. We're talking now about the next guy. Soto declined $400 million. Remember, so we're talking. A-Rod was 250. We're already reaching $500 million. And then there's going to be a strike. We got no money. Or like, unbelievable. And Marty, you were a pitcher. You were going to make it to the majors. You had bad luck and all that. But do you feel if you were 10 to 15 years younger, you could be home and cooled out with now? I'm not saying 300 million, but at least 100 million.
Well, all these guys are special that play in the big leagues. They're all like, it takes an awful lot to get there. Those guys have talent that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but even the closers are making 20 million.
Yeah, but they're all unbelievable. But the money that they're throwing around is just absolutely insane. And baseball is it's the owners are their biggest problem is the owners. Like they look for other things. It's the owners that keep throwing this money out there that 360 million, 300 million, 280 million. I think DeGrom's getting $37.5 million a year. Verlander, $43 million a year. Like, that's a lot of money being thrown. That just tells you how much money baseball does make in those markets. Like the Jays, there's no. I know Shapiro and Atkins keep saying money's not a concern. We don't have problems with the money. I think the threshold this year for the luxury tax like $233 million or something like that. They say they're not concerned about that. Well, if they're not concerned about that and they're offering these players contracts and they're saying no to it, that's pretty interesting to me as to why all these players are saying no to this money. If the Jays are offering,
I'll tell you, if they're not concerned now, all right, Marty, let's forget about the Blue Jays, what they did, what they didn't do, or whatever. If this guy's getting 300 million or 280 million Bogarts, what is Bo Bichette? What is Vlad Guerrero? What, for that matter, we're talking about relievers and closers getting 25 million. What is Romano going to get? Like, if there anybody in baseball now, if you're a star, which Bo Bichette is, Vlad is, you're getting, it starts at $300 million.
Well, and Bichette's got to be licking his chops, seeing that what these two shortstops have signed for. Carrera's still out there. He's going to get somewhere around that neighborhood.
Yep. Yep.
You know, he's going to be licking his chops. And I'm going to say, like, you know, the starting point for Bo Bichette when it talks contract now is going to be $250 million.
Yep.
You know, so whether it's 8, 9, 10 years, but that's what he's going to get. And I've said this before, as much as, you know, Vlad's a really good player, I think Bo is a player that more athletic, can play other positions, whereas Vlad is a first baseman. Yes, he came from third, but he's a first baseman. You can't move him to the outfield. You can't. So Bo might end up getting more money than Vlad ends up getting for a contract extension. But like that's, you know, Bichette's licking his chops. Same as Vlad. Vlad's licking his chops too, seeing guys sign for this kind of money. So remember, Acuna, what he signed for $100 million, $110 million just like 3 or 4 years ago. Now these guys are
going to sign $300 million.
Like,
there's another guy.
If Soto has a good year with San Diego this year, what is he going to command?
Yep.
Is he going to be $450, $500 million? It's getting out of hand in some instances here with guys with what they're getting paid. I know that for the first 5 or 6 years they're not making as good an income, but it's still playing a game, and you're making an awfully lot of money doing it.
Unbelievable, like unbelievable. There, that, you know, just a couple years ago, you know, we were talking $100 million, like you said. Now we're talking 3, 4, and eventually next year or 2 years we're going to be at $500 million. All right. I just want a side note here. Tried to get Steve Carney, but he's at the Tampa Bay Lightning game. Steve has news that Tampa is going to come out with a new stadium in Tampa across the street from Tropicana Field. So we'll try to get Steve on next week, because I know, Marty, you love him. All right. So, you know, him and Tom Brady and everything like that. We're going to try to get Steve on there also. But another shout out here. It's about time. The U.S. and Russia doing a deal. The WNBA player Brittany now freed. Now at this time she's home. It's about time for that, because we talk about sports, everything here. But Marty, now forget about free agency, because it looks like they're not going to do anything with free agency.
You know, there's still some players there. Yes, there are. It's not going to be the big splash unless they go and get, you know, sign a Bassett for 4 or 5 years. Maybe they surprise us. They go and they sign Rodon for 6 years. Right? There's still some guys in the pitching side of things that can make big changes with the Jays in the AL East.
Yeah, I think the route they're going is through a trade.
Well, and you're right, and I was thinking that too. There's a couple, like I would look into. I'd call maybe Arizona, and there's Zach Gallen that's there, who's their top starter. You know, that'd be a pretty nice add to the Jays rotation. Or do you call the Brewers? And the Brewers have 3 starters that would look pretty nice in the Jays organization in their rotation. And then you can also ask him if you want about Yelich. You know, he's had a few, you know, a couple rough years. Maybe they get Yelich thrown into a deal there with a Barnes, a Woodruff, or a Peralta, right? So there's going to be some things, and that might be, you're right. It might be the way they're going to have to go is trade. Yes, they're going to have to give up some, but this way it's not, we're saying no because of whatever money you're offering us. You have to come because we traded for you.
So here it is. The trade chip they have isn't catching. So I'm going to go. Everybody's talking about this. So let's start off with this. Which catcher, if it's you're Marty Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're better looking, but whatever. All right, you're Marty Atkins. Who do you trade?
Well, the guy I would trade first is Kirk. Kirk's the guy for me that would go, not only because right now he probably has the biggest value of the 3 catchers. Kirk's coming off, you know, all-star year. I think he was, I don't know, was he a silver slugger for catchers? I can't remember. But it's to me, that's the best year you're going to get out of Kirk. So you might as well trade him when his stock is high. But even if you trade Kirk, you got Jansen and Moreno there that, you know, Jansen's a pretty good catcher. You saw what he did when he was healthy last year with, you know, hitting home runs and driving runs in and the way that he controls the game. I think Kirk is the one. And I know I talked to a buddy of mine in St. Louis. He was thinking that he heard that the Jays in St. Louis were talking, but then St. Louis went and signed Contreras for 5 years to be their catcher. So that obviously isn't going anywhere there in St. Louis. So you're right. That's their biggest chip is that, and they got a couple minor league guys that I hope they don't think about trading Tiedemann. He's the guy that could be up near the end of this year, if not for sure. In 24, he'll be in the Jays rotation.
All right. Well, hopefully, the winter meetings, a lot of action happening because we were talking off air here and say, when are they going to do signings? When and now it's going to be a flurry of signings, but most of the trades and all that are going to happen, and they're not even going to happen by Christmas. They're going to happen after the new year. Okay, first week of January, second week of January. Let's hope the Blue Jays do something and not this only thing here that they renovate the Scott or Rogers Center and everything like that.
Joe, I still think they're going to sign a couple free agents. I really do. I still think they're the guy that I keep going, and I said it from before is Cafuto. I thought they were going to sign him when he became healthy at the end of last year. Toronto might be the perfect situation for him to come in and sign a 1-year deal, knowing that they still need an outfielder, and he could DH as well and build his stock back up for the following year. So I for some reason I keep thinking it's Conforto that they're gonna sign, and I think it's there's still a starting pitcher, maybe a reliever that the Jays are going to sign. I think that's where they're heading. I really do, and then we'll see if they add on trade wise after that. But I think there's a couple signings that are going to come out of this. You got to remember when they signed Springer, I think it wasn't until like mid-January they signed Springer.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe there is something here that they're, I know Boris said the other day that the Jays have a meeting with one of his clients next week. Well, I think he's got Gallo. I think he has Carfuto. So maybe it's one of those two. Carrera, they have him, but I can't see them signing unless they do. They sign Carrera to a 10-year deal, and then they somehow work a deal and trade Bo for pitching.
Yeah. So that's all right. I'm just getting a text from your good friend Carmen Asako. He says he does now daily bets. He wants to actually sort of have a deal with you, and the bet is the loser has to buy Patricia a bottle of red wine. All right. I don't know who this Patricia is. All right. So by the way, right now it is Baker Mayfield starting for the Rams, 13-3. For the Raiders, but we won't touch on this game, all right? Sunday, I'll go through some games. You give me your bets, all right?
All right.
First of all, I don't know if you know this. We're going to start with the number one team that's going to win the Super Bowl. The Jets and the Bills. Bills favored by 10.
Oh, man. 10 points. Is it in Buffalo?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Buffalo.
The Bills, 31. The Jets, 10. Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Of course, Jackson not playing.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh favored by 2.5 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's, man. Everyone's always been on Baltimore because of Lamar, but I think I'll go with Pittsburgh here. I really do. I think I'll go with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh plays pretty tough. I think it's at home in Pittsburgh, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Pittsburgh.
All right. So the next one is a head scratcher. Minnesota comes in at 10-2. They're in Detroit. Detroit has won a few games. Detroit's 5-7. Detroit is favored.
I looked at that too. I was thinking, is someone out for Minnesota? It's going to play like is Cousins out? I don't understand this. And I thought, wow. I would think everyone would be all over Minnesota. I could see that line changing by the time Sunday rolls around, but I'm going Minnesota.
All right. Jacksonville, Tennessee, we won't touch on. We'll touch on the East, the NFC East. Philly at the Giants. Philly at the Giants. Remember, Philly favored by 7.
It's a divisional rivalry. Giants came off of a tough game against my Washington football team.
It's a tie.
And it was, don't even get me going on the tie stuff, but I think the Eagles might run away with this against the Giants. I really do, because the Giants didn't look great. They did not. Washington jumped out to the 10-0 lead. They allowed Giants to come back and take the lead, and then they had to come back late to tie it. But I think Philadelphia's just looking too damn good this year. And the only loss was against who?
Your team.
Exactly. So I think they walk all over the Giants.
You mentioned your team. Do you want to touch on their owner? Never mind.
No, I don't want to touch nothing on that idiot.
All right. So your other, I don't know if he's your friend, former friend, current friend, former, co-manager or whatever. Houston at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys favored by 1-7. Yes, 7.
17. Man, that is a lot of points to give up. That's 3 scores. I'm gonna go with the Texans here and take the 17 wins. I'm gonna be up 17-0 for the game even starts. Taking the Texans.
All right, I'm sure your friend is watching on here. All right, so let's get to 2 more games here. I know Carmen's watching. Tampa Bay for Steve up against San Francisco. Mr. Elevalent is going to quarterback for San Francisco. He won last week. It's in San Francisco. San Fran is favored by 3.5.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I don't think they were ready last week when what's his Purdy? Is that what his name is?
Purdy. Yeah, Purdy. Yeah.
I don't know if they were prepared for him when he came in, but I think they're gonna have to. They're probably gonna run the ball a little bit more this week. San Francisco. Man, I think I'm still gonna stay with San Francisco. I think San Francisco's defense is pretty solid, so I'm gonna go with San Francisco. And like Tampa Bay did not look good until like the last 6 minutes of that game the other day, against New Orleans, right?
Yep.
And again, it was just New Orleans. You look at that game. Here was I forget how much time was left. 3 minutes, maybe under 3 minutes, and they went 3 and out in 31 seconds. New Orleans did. Yep. You can't give Brady that much time to come down and beat you with a touchdown. So that's on their coach for not running that clock down a little bit better.
All right. By the way, Marty Roberts and Anthony Kay's favorite team, the Chicago Bears, have a bye. 6 teams have a bye: Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Washington. Sunday night, a good matchup here, and I'm telling you, there's going to be a surprise. The Miami Dolphins go into SoFi Stadium and take on the LA San Diego Chargers. Miami favored by 3.
Every time I jump on Chargers thinking, man, you know what? They're just looking good. They go and they just blow it. They just fall behind, and then they spend so much time trying to get back into the games. You know what? I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
You're going to be wrong. By the way, they moved games next week, week 15. There's 3 Saturday games. 1 p.m. Saturday, December 17th, Indianapolis, Minnesota. 4:30, Baltimore and Cleveland. And Saturday night at 8:15. Oh boy, squish the fish. By the way, I'm looking at the weather in Buffalo. It's not going to be 6 feet of snow, maybe 2 feet of snow. Payback for when it's 180 degrees in week 2, Buffalo, Miami. The Buffalo Bills will play the Miami Dolphins. All right. And it's another Thursday, next Thursday, a good matchup. San Fran and Seattle. So good matchups. And they moved one more game. Sunday night, December 18th, 8:20, the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. Marty Roberts is going to be glued to that 75-inch TV he has in Barrie. How big is your TV?
32-inch black and white.
32 black and white. Like, I believe that. All right.
And you know what? And you know who's going to be back for Washington soon is Chase Young. He hasn't played yet. I guess they thought he was going to play last week. Maybe there's a chance, but I think with the bye, I think you see him playing that week. That's a big hole in their defensive side, right?
Yeah.
And they've still been pretty good on that defensive side of the ball too. So I think this time Washington isn't going to be tied with the Giants. That's for sure, especially being back at home.
And I'm telling you what, right now, I don't have inside information here, but the following week, week 16, all matchups except 3 or 4 are played Saturday, December 24th. Right now, the Christmas Eve night game is the Raiders and Pittsburgh. That's going to be flexed to listen to this, Marty. I believe that's going to be flexed to Philly and Dallas. Philly plays in Dallas. That Christmas Eve. Unless Marty, you go around as Santa Claus, as Kipling and everything like that. But Christmas Eve, when do you want to stay and watch the Eagles, the Cowboys, 8:15?
Yeah,
Come on.
that'll be an intense game for sure. That will be, I think, was there 2 games separating them maybe
Yeah.
between first and second?
All
And
right.
I think Philadelphia can actually clinch a playoff spot this weekend with a win
Yes.
and someone else lose. I can't remember what
Minnesota
the whole
losing.
scenario is,
Minnesota
but
losing.
that's going to be all these rivalry games are divisional playing. It doesn't matter what sport you are. There's always intense competition. There's a mean streak that these guys come with to beat that other team. It doesn't matter if you're 0-18 going into that game. That game is a meaningful game, and that one is going to be for first place, I would think.
All right, as we close out Fired Up, I have to say this. Marty Roberts has become a huge soccer fan.
Portugal.
Tomorrow, the
Portugal.
quarterfinal actions begin 10 a.m. Marty Roberts still snoring. 10 a.m. Croatia, Brazil. Who do you call?
I'm calling Brazil.
2 p.m. Netherlands or Holland against Argentina.
You know what? I'm going to go with Argentina.
So he's saying one semifinal, Brazil, Argentina. Now, Saturday, 10 a.m., Morocco versus Portugal.
Portugal. I got them to win the whole thing. I got them at plus
No,
800.
that's not
Portugal.
Portugal. It's Portugal. All right.
Portugal to me.
Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo starts?
I would think so.
Yeah, right. You don't even know what I'm talking about. 2:00, England and France. Say your winner in the language. If it's England, say it in English. If it's France, say it in French.
I know what everyone is thinking. I'm going with England.
He's going with England. All right. He's going to go. So in the other semifinal, he's saying Portugal and England. He says Brazil, Argentina. We're coming down to the nitty gritty in Qatar. Has this been a good World Cup for you, Marty? You're a big soccer fan.
Yeah, you know why it's really good? Because it's over by the time I get up.
I knew it.
That's why. It's not taking my prime time events away. It's starting early in the morning. It's done by the time I get up. I don't have to watch it.
Yeah, and you're basically barbecuing there because
and you know what? To be fair, when I do want to get my information, I listen to you guys on Fridays and your show, daily show for the World Cup updates with Carm. I'll get my info there when I want it. And that's why I've decided I took Portugal.
You're going to lose. All right. By the way, midday update will return next week after the World Cup. So thanks
When did you
again.
switch the name?
Because we have nobody here named Mike. All right. that's the truth. All right. What do you want, midday Marty? I want to do a show while you're driving on the bus.
No, you don't want that.
No, I don't want that. All right.
I don't want that.
So here we go. Thanks a lot to Carmen Asako, Giancarlo Lino, who pulled the double shift here. Anthony K pulled the double shift. Derek Bowles with Unstoppables. Marty Roberts and Taylor Woods for Fired Up Live. Any last comments here, Marty?
You never asked me where they could reach me.
I was going to say that, but now that you said that, you're going to stall.
Just look along the bottom of the screen. Oh, Lefty22. On Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. Does anybody reach out to you?
Well, I'm just hoping my jersey from Toronto 6 Taylor Woods comes by FedEx in the next couple of days.
So this, can you tell me who this Patricia is? She's asking, is Marty Roberts going to come to her wedding?
All I know is that she has breaking news type of stuff.
Do you like that breaking news type of stuff?
Breaking news is always good. Breaking news is always good. Doesn't matter what it is. You just don't want to slip on the floor when you break the news.
Wait a minute, Marty. It's about time that you go in the tubs, right? You go have a nice time in your tub and everything like that, don't you? It's a relaxing time. Then you flip.
You get the candles going. You put the jacuzzi jets on. You just sit there and you reminisce about what happened in the day. Yeah, it relaxes you.
You reminisced with who? With who are you reminiscing? Are you breaking the news or what?
I'm not going to say I talk to myself, but I do talk to myself. And
what do you say to yourself?
I just say, man, what am I going to do tomorrow? Do I have to wake up and do this all over again tomorrow? And then I'll answer myself, and then I'll get out and I'll go to bed.
What, don't you ask yourself, do I want Portugal or do I want Morocco? Don't you ask yourself
No,
that?
I want Portugal. Portugal is I put my $4 on Portugal to win it all.
Marty, and how much do you win if you bet your $4?
I don't know. It's plus 800. I got him at plus 800.
Marty Roberts, my new best friend there, all right?
Plus 800.
And by the way, when you're in the tub, do you have a nice, a little bit of the bubbly or what in the tub?
No, I don't. They call me one beer Morty. That's what they call me. I don't drink a lot.
Do you want me to believe that?
I don't. I really don't. I'm not a big drinker.
All right. So your friend Patricia has asked, final question as we close out Fired Up Live. What do you want for Christmas?
Oh my gosh. I want a few more zeros on my paycheck.
TTC! Do you hear that? TTC! Do you hear that? All right. Stay tuned for more great programming, by the way. Tomorrow, we're going to do a World Cup update. And guess what? It's Friday. Fem Fridays are back here on the Fired Up.
Is the soccer show on tomorrow?
Yes. World Cup update.
But they're different. World Cup update is something different than the soccer show. World Cup update is every day. The soccer show is with Giancarlo, the coach, and you. And the World Cup update is usually just you and Carm.
Since you're
don't mix your shows up, Joseph.
Hold on. Next week, we got the semifinals and finals, and Fired Up Network is planning big, even bigger shows. We got Carmen. We got Giancarlo Nino. John Nelson is going to come back. He had to cry because the USA lost. They only played one more extra day than Canada. But we also
but that one extra day is big. You made it into the playoff round.
Yeah, but they lost still.
I want you to ask Carm tomorrow who should be the coach of Team Canada going forward.
I know who's going to be the coach of Team Canada going forward. It's not going to be Marty Roberts, that's for sure.
Definitely not. It's definitely not going to be me.
Some guy named Billy something or other is going to be here, right? I don't know. Don't you agree with that? Can he be the coach of soccer or what?
No. I think they should give serious consideration to the coach Carm.
They should. No joking aside, he should already have an amazing paying coach. We take 40% of the salary, a lot of zeros. You wanted a zeros. Come on. All right, Marty, are you going to let me close this out or not? By the way, I believe.
One more thing. When you talk to Carm tomorrow, ask him what type of product he puts in his hair.
He doesn't. It's all the flaky and all that. There's dandruff.
Wow, that's some natural hair right there. That's a nice lid he's got going on. Ask if he can give me some of it because I got some bald spots happening.
So wait a minute. What do you want for Christmas? And
hair plugs.
Hair plugs. Yeah, Eric has some of them. All right. So for everybody, a cast of thousands here on Fired Up Network. Stay tuned for more great programming. Have a great night. And again, happy belated birthday to Digit Murphy. Happy birthday to Nathan Parrott. And on Monday, it's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. Love you. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for more great